Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the JOWP podcast. I am joined with my co-host, Gabriel.
Yes, sir.
And as you could probably tell by the title of this episode, we are going to talk about our, I wouldn't say highly requested, but we've had more than one comment about it on multiple videos about the book that Gabe and I are writing called Deity Pressure. So I figured that it would be kind of cool, just kind of sit down and we can kind of talk about just what we have so far, introduce y'all to the world and stuff. Because just based off of what I think of y'all, like what I think I know of y'all, and how much you like hypotheticals, is kind of just like a more thought out hypothetical over time.
Yeah, basically.
In a sense, like
it's a way more well thought out.
It's not even like a hypothetical because it's not like we just suddenly go and get powers.
Yeah, it's like okay, so the premise is it's roughly the characters are based on us, like
roughly as in like they share some similar characteristics and names. That's it.
It's really just physical appearance. To even that's a little shaky
at times, yeah.
And then the names. And then familial bonds.
And
sometimes.
like we'll also we'll also throw characteristics. So like if someone's, for like 3 months, this is how they've been acting, we'll put that in their character at that time in the book. So if like for us looking back on it, it does kind of date it a little bit.
Yeah, we see like the inside jokes.
Like I saw Devin called someone a bozo. And I was like, I haven't heard this in forever. But he used to do that all the time.
That's a throwback right
there.
It
was really like, it's like a couple of years back. Like Devin's like, all right, bozo.
That's why people always say like when you're writing not to use like slang because slang can die out.
Exactly.
And you want something that'll age better.
Oh, I can definitely tell that for sure. But I figured this would be kind of like I figured it'd be longer. I don't know exactly how long because I know that Gabe and I can literally talk for hours.
We do it all the time.
Like we'll do it just randomly. Like we'll just go to like dinner or something. Like me, him, and some other people or whatever, like Devin or Eduardo, and literally just talk for like an hour and a half, and we're not even 2 chapters in or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, part of it though me and Tyler just talk about the future a lot too. We talk about we're always talking about like, damn, imagine once we get past this point, we can start doing this and that,
which I can explain later when we get to that point.
We're always trying to plan out the future because we want to make sure once we get past like a certain point, which we'll get to, we want to make sure it's like kind of smooth sailing here. So we kind of have the more of the future mapped out than we do of the present, which is kind of weird, but it's just kind of the way it worked out because of the straight up nature of how Deity Pressure was made, which I guess that's how we could start it.
I was just gonna start with like
the beginning of.
I was gonna start with just like general introductions to like the characters, the world, stuff like that, and then maybe go into like brief history about how it came about, and then like actually get into the current story.
All right.
So to start off with, the way that I can kind of think about this in a sense is like Space X-Men meets One Piece. In a sense, One Piece in the adventure aspect, and like different worlds and whatever.
I think Space My Hero, probably better than
Space
X-Men.
My Hero, that actually makes more sense. I just think because when I think of, I don't know why, like whenever I think of powers,
though.
What? Well, no, I know, but like when I think of powers, I just my brain
X-Men.
sometimes just defaults to X-Men.
Yeah,
because it's just like cool powers and X-Men.
Yeah, My Hero's not cool, right?
Yeah, like My Hero, like Mid-Hero Academia, right?
Of course, we've said it so many times. Yeah. You guys know, how we feel about
exactly. So it's like I don't know if it's just because I used to watch X-Men a lot when I was younger. Like the X-Men Evolution show and stuff like that. And it's like my brain just like defaults. But that was the way I always did describe it. I guess Space, My Hero, X, One Piece makes more sense.
Yeah.
Only One Piece in the sense of like, I guess,
true,
like the power system a little bit, and then like because we explore around the cosmos effectively.
Yeah.
On this like long adventure.
I'd say it's pretty similar to One Piece. I wouldn't say it's like only One Piece and like certain. It's pretty close. I think One Piece might be the closest.
I think it would be the closest for sure.
Yeah.
I just didn't want them to think of like, oh yeah, they're One Piece fans, so they're just gonna like make a One Piece.
I'm not a One Piece fan. They know I'm not. Maybe you can say you are, but they know I'm not.
Not me. But yeah, I mean, just kind of like get introduced to like the characters themselves. We do have like the main four, which y'all know: me, Devin, Gabe, and Eduardo. And I will say, like, because I am like the main writer, I when I talk about it, I don't like compare Gabe to Gabe in the book, or Tyler to Tyler in the book, or Devin to Devin in the, you know what I mean? So like when I talk about these characters, I'm not, if I say like, yeah, Tyler does this, it's not like some weird, I'm talking about myself in third person. I'm literally talking about a different character. Because like we said, they only are comparable in name and vague appearance, and that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is usually pretty different.
Some small characteristics we take from It's like, oh, Eduardo's dumb. We'll throw that into his character. Like small things, but it's like that's why I say roughly.
Yeah, like a lot of times Eduardo's the one where like someone says something, like Gabe says something really smart, and Eduardo's like, what? And then Gabe's gotta like break it down, like classic trope, right?
Yeah, classic smart character, dumb character dynamic
combo. Yeah, so it's like they gotta break it down. But
English, please.
Yeah, so like in this, God, I gotta go like bare bones with this. I was just thinking about it, like I gotta go real bare bones. So in the book, people are born with powers, and we call them affinities. And the way those manifests, it can literally be anything. Just like I guess My Hero. So like you said, like My Hero would be pretty close. Yeah. So it's like, for example, like Tyler controls water. He just can create and control water, and that's like it basically. And Eduardo, he can manipulate nature, so like grow vines or grow trees or grass or whatever.
Grass.
I mean, yeah, he can if he wants to. And then Gabe and Devin, they get a little more advanced with their stuff. Gabe is spatial control, spatial manipulation rather, and it manifests itself when he's younger as portals and like teleportation. As he gets older, it'll obviously develop, but right now it's portals, mainly portals, because teleportation takes a lot out of him. And then Devin is destruction, so he creates like an aura of destruction around him, and he can like punch something and basically just destroy it. And that kind of is a trope in and of itself, because Devin has this like running thing of like he just destroys things sometimes for no reason. Like he'll touch something and it's just like implodes on itself basically.
That's what his character is like, power is based on.
That's why we thought it was funny if he did that. Like oh yeah, he just destroys stuff.
I mean, in a sense, everyone's ability was based on it, because we should say I originally made the story, so like everyone's ability is based on a character trait I originally like assigned. I was like, oh, this and that. But like for like Eduardo, the nature thing at the time, I was like, this thing Eduardo always says he likes going outside,
always loves going on walks,
because he always runs and everything. I'm like, well, nature for Eduardo.
Like a good example, like Wednesday, let's go to the gym. He's like, today's too much of a beautiful day. Or not Wednesday, Monday. He's like, I don't want to miss out on the day. I'm like,
he's sitting there like literally strolling like Free Guy.
He said he took a 3-hour walk.
Yeah, like, he does that sometimes. He just does it. He just likes going outside. He's a nature boy.
He got no job, so it's like
he's nothing else to do. So like give him nature. And Tyler, like there was like this funny trope for like a while years back when we were in high school, where like actually not even we were in high school, we were in college. Because Tyler, he went to college in a different state, and whenever he would come back from said state that he went to college at, whenever he came here, it would just start raining every time.
And then it'd be clear, and then like if I stayed for like a week, every time I left, it would also rain too. Yeah. So it's like basically every time I came and like left, it was just rain. So then water.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. Also he always drinks so much water. Like he doesn't do it anymore, but he used to have this like gallon, not gallon, but like
it was a gallon. Well, there was one that was a gallon, and I got right? No, it was a gallon, and I got a smaller one.
Okay, yeah, hydro flask or hydro jug, that one.
Hydro jug.
Yeah, he had one of those, and he just always drank that whole thing all the time. He's just water boy. Everything about him was just water. He always drank water and all that. He sweats a lot. You see that he sweats a lot.
I sweat a lot, yeah.
Yeah, he's just water boy. And then Devin, he destroys things a lot. Whatever, makes sense. And then for me, I was just like, oh, I think I have good spatial awareness, and I was like, I think
space is a cool power.
Yeah, space is a cool power. I like the idea of gravity and everything too. That's another thing I do early as well, gravity.
In the tournament, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. So like I was like, space is one of my favorite powers I've always had, and since I was writing the story, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give myself my favorite power, because like of course I don't want to make myself a god, but I'm just giving myself a power I liked.
Yeah, right. And I think we can kind of like go more into like the history of it, because it started as a school project senior year in high school.
Yeah. So senior year of high school, teacher in English was like, all right, everyone, you just gotta make a story. That's it. He just said, just make a story and then turn it in. I think it was like, it had to be 3 pages.
It had to be like a certain number of page lengths.
Yeah, it was either a word count or a page count. That was like the only thing. He said it could be anything. He did say he wanted it to be fiction. He didn't want it to be like a biography or whatever. I was like, easy money. That's what I excel in. I don't like writing real stuff anyways. So I wrote it in the original draft. You don't even want to see the original draft. The original draft's pretty horrendous.
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad. There's a lot of bad stuff in there.
It actually got lost to the times.
We did our best to like recreate it,
but it's not the same.
It's not.
It doesn't hit the same.
There's so many scenes. I don't even think the orangutan scenes in the re-edited.
No, because it's in the OG.
Yeah, but we don't remember the scene, so we couldn't even
we remember vaguely what happens.
Yeah, so we're like, like, oh, like whenever we say the orangutan scene to each other, we know it, but we don't know it. Like we couldn't specifically tell you what happens in the scene, but we just know the orangutan is involved there.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not gonna explain that to you either, but
no, but that was like Mach 1, and then we made Mach 2, and then you got Jose on because you weren't like
Jose is Mach 2.
Is he Mach 2? Yeah. Because then you were like, I want to expand this universe, and
there's
then
4 versions.
And then Jose was like, yeah, I'll help you out. So then y'all did that, and then I came in and I kind of edited some stuff, add some more stuff, and then you and I would have those long talks after work. And
we became co-writers.
Yeah, became co-writers. And then eventually I kind of took over the role, and then we said like at the point we were at, we wanted to give more context to like what was happening, because it's easier to like write the up to it and then go on beyond it, so that it's more established characters and power systems. So then we had like went back and had like a prequel to Mach 3, and that's like the current version we're on. And also it used to be written in first person, and then going from 3 to 4 I transitioned a lot of it to third person
because it just makes it so much easier.
It makes it a lot easier.
There's so many times where in the series Tyler would just have to make Gabe makes a portal so he could eavesdrop. Like that's the only way you could like see other people doing stuff, as if I eavesdrop.
Otherwise it's just Gabe's perspective, and that's like boring.
Yeah, because there's so much other stuff that we wanted to incorporate into the story, but it'd be like, how do we show that if it'd
be damn near impossible. You have to be like omniscient.
Yeah, I'd have to like somehow just always be like, let me just go eavesdrop on this planet all the way across the galaxy
for a reason.
Yeah,
and they don't know I'm here.
Yeah. But, I will say it worked one time in the not even the original. I think it's Mach 2 actually. I believe it's with Jose. There was one time where it did make sense, where like I opened the portal and then we were listening. Do you remember that scene with the?
You're talking about with Elijah and Eduardo? Or you're talking about with Duntavius? That was Mach 3.
That's Mach 3. Yeah, but like that was the theme. I was like, that one actually makes sense.
That one makes sense, and then it was funny because he was like.
Yeah, the scene was great.
It was a funny scene. Yeah,
I love that. Are we gonna talk about like Mach 3, or are we just gonna stick to Mach 4? Because Mach 4 is the canon now.
I think we'll just go up to like SMA basically, like we're at chapter 7 right now.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird, because like the way like the Machs work, right? Mach 3 technically goes farther in the story than Mach 4 does, because like Tyler said, we went back because we're adding context in version 4 here. So there's a lot of stuff that Devin would know that is gonna happen that you guys won't know if we don't talk about it. So there's just gonna be that. Just know that there is a lot of stuff that even though we're gonna tell you a lot here, you're probably not gonna know all of it, and Devin will still know more than you. So
yeah, like he sucks off the one move that he like semi-named. Just like he's like, I ain't.
Are we really giving him that name?
I guess
at this point, like, Dev's not here anymore. He doesn't get that name. That's my name.
I'm just saying, like, we had like a placeholder, and he said something, and I was like, I guess.
We basically named it. Like, he just threw one word in there. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. We're not gonna get into it.
Because that's like technically like not full canon yet.
It's not full canon yet. So if we say it, we don't want you to like think it's canon and be like.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But just some other like brief like character introductions, and I'll talk about different characters the more we get into the story, like when they're introduced and whatnot. But there's also like this guy Sam, and Sam created. Actually, I think I just want to say like, because I think the first couple like paragraphs of chapter 1 just kind of sum it up best.
You have notes of this, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling up right now. It kind of just sums it up best, because then it gives like an epilogue to what happened at the beginning. So it's like you get context of like the area and stuff. So it says the planet of Solteria. So Solteria is the planet and the empire, but there's like the planet of Solteria. That's like where we're starting.
Yeah.
So the planet of Solteria was created by the Emperor Sam centuries ago. The Iced Emperor Sam, that's what he's called, utilized his vast ice affinity to create and mold a planet into the shining beacon of hope that he envisioned. Sam is a benevolent ruler who very much cares for and loves his subject. His power and influence are why Solteria has been able to expand across the vast areas of the universe and formed many alliances with other planets. The Emperor has been alive for over 500 years, because take into account these aren't humans, they're like technically aliens, and like kind of like you're really strong, you can expand your life longer.
Certain races have different lifespans.
Exactly, it's different.
There's also different character traits, or not even character traits, like race traits we added in, which I don't know if we're even gonna get into that. That's a whole thing I just thought about too.
Yeah, that's like way later.
Like,
yeah. And has amassed a vast amount of knowledge and power in his time. He has been stated to be immortal and has only lost in one fight before, virtually unbeatable. In order to keep up one of the best armies in the universe, the Solterian people were personally selected by Sam and were bred for peak abilities. They were selected based on many factors: affinity potency, which is like not only how strong their affinities are, but not everyone in the universe has an affinity. Some races are more likely to have affinities than other races. Like, for example, like humans on Earth are not very likely to have affinities. So he wouldn't just take some random old Joe Schmo off, like, New York street or something, because he's not likely to have affinities or have kids that have affinities. So he'll go to a race that has high affinity, strength, and potency, bring them in. Selected based off of affinity, potency, battle experience, so like more war focused areas or like strong areas.
Yeah.
Affinity, potency, or rarity. So it's like fire is pretty common, but to have like volcanic manipulation is not very common, relatively speaking. So you'd want to go for the more rare people, because if you have a rarer ability, you're more likely to pass on either the same or something similar. So he wants to keep the really rare ones together. Affinity type and battle potential, and amongst other things. But that kind of like sets up the world of Solteria. The Emperor Sam, he's accompanied by 4 generals at the time: Daniel, Elijah, Esley, and Jose, each with their own powers. So Daniel's power is light. He's known as the Shining General. Then you have Elijah, which is his power is string, so you can like just create strings and manipulate strings and stuff. He's known as the String General and also Gabe's older brother. There's Esley, whose power is blood or blood manipulation, so she can manipulate her blood to other people's bloods and whatnot. And then Jose, which is known as the Time General, and his is just time. So that kind of sets up like those people. And then in order to like keep the military being strong, they created like an academy, which is why it's kind of like My Hero, in that sense, called the Solterian Military Academy, or SMA for short. And this academy brings in prospective students, and they go through it, they get stronger, they learn a lot of stuff, and then they get in the military, and they go off and do whatever they need to do for the military. That kind of like puts us where we're at the beginning. So it starts like in chapter 1, there's Gabe, Devin, Tyler, and Eduardo all planned on going on this little trip because it's the day before this tournament, which there's for SMA, there's an entrance exam. There's a written portion and a practical portion. And the practical portion takes place as a tournament that takes place over like the course of 30 days. And, based off of how well you do on both portions, the written and the practical, that decides where you're placed in the academy. The academy has 4 classes: S, A, B, and C. S class is taught by Daniel. A class is taught by Elijah, B, Esley, and C, Jose. So you want to do really well on both portions. But Gabe comes up with the wise idea of going on one last little adventure because, once you take the tournament, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be put into the school or even put into the same class if you are put in the school. So he's like, I want to do this last little adventure before, like a last hurrah before the potential of us not seeing each other for 3-4 years or whatever, how long it takes. So Gabe meets up with Devin and Eduardo. Unfortunately, Tyler couldn't go because Tyler he stays at an orphanage, and the orphanage is very restrictive on when he can leave and when he cannot leave. Effectively, like he just stays inside and just reads all day, or like cleans or does chores.
He basically just can't leave.
He basically just can't leave. He can do anything.
Like,
but
he can leave whenever like it's necessary for school. That's
yeah.
like the only thing. He's not allowed to have fun basically at this.
Yeah,
orphanage.
basically, like you had fun 2 years ago, no more fun today.
Yeah, it's like if you wanted to have fun, you shouldn't have been an orphan. It's pretty tough.
It's tough.
That's basically how they are there.
But it's just how it is. So they go on this adventure, and what they want to do is they want to find the old kingdom of Solteria. So they live in like the current kingdom, but there's like rumors there's an old kingdom on like the opposite side of the world, and they want to go like visit this, which conveniently they had someone that can manipulate space, so it makes travel pretty damn easy. And Gabe is, he's a pretty smart cookie. He's calculated a lot of stuff out, and he's able to create rifts. Now these rifts are ultra powerful. Like I'm talking jumping 50,000 miles in one direction, because Solteria is a very large planet.
Yeah, I think we said it's like 10 times the size of Earth.
It's very large. It's something like diameter wise, it's like 100 or like 150,000 miles or something. Something crazy.
It's probably something similar to Jupiter even, but I think we even said it's bigger than Jupiter. Like, it's bigger than anything in our solar system. It's a very large planet.
Yeah. Because you have to fit like a bunch of different stuff on there.
Yeah.
It's extremely large. But Gabe is able to create these rifts in space, if you will. And these rifts will like take him there without wasting energy because he's already put the energy in prior. He prepped for this. So he gets Dev and Eduardo, teleport out, which is like pretty much the maximum distance you can teleport. They go to the rifts. They go all the way through it. But you can't stack the rifts on top of each other because, as Gabe says in the book, that it could like potentially cause a tear in space because you're stacking too much in one space, which could like either tear it or cause like a black hole or something like singularity. And it's no bueno, effectively. Big brain. You know,
big brain.
I want y'all to remember, like, these kids are 13 years old. So, like, I want you to keep that in perspective when thinking about how strong and smart they are, because, like, they are ultra advanced for their age, just because of where they were raised.
Yeah.
They were raised, like, effectively selectively bred. They are hyper intelligent. They've been doing combat and school since they were, like, legit out the womb, like, old enough to comprehend anything. It's all right, let's do some, like, school and fights and stuff like that. Learn your affinities, get stronger. Because that's what they do. That's the world they live in.
And another thing to think about is, like, even 13 isn't even, like, it's not 13 to us. Like, 13 to them is, like, probably 1 or 2 to us. Like, because of their age, like, their age ranges are so much larger.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's like, people, like, in the 400s, that's, like, what we would view as, like, 50 or 60, right? Like 100 is probably your prime. 100 is probably, like, 20 years old. That's, like, probably your prime. So when you look at 13-year-olds for them, that's like seeing like if other countries, Soteria, they're used to it, but that's like other countries, they look at Soteria like they're training like 1-year-olds to fight. That's what they view it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like all the years, it's not the same exact as like Earth years. It's based off of Solterian years, so it could vary depending on like where they're at, because like the revolution's different. Mm-hmm. So it's like 13 years is also might not be 13 years on like Earth.
On Earth, yeah.
But it's like 13 years for Solteria. So that also makes a big difference.
Especially if the planet is bigger than Earth, it'd probably have a different revolution, of course.
Exactly. But anyways, so they're going, and one of the things that I wanted to do, like obviously stacking the rifts, but then they also have to travel in between. So yes, I know it's kind of cliche. They have hoverboards, all right? But they're like sci-fi, ultra advanced, like intergalactic, travel the universe. Let them have some fucking hoverboards, all right? They're kids. Yeah. Like, that's cool. Hoverboards are cool, okay?
They're living in an extremely advanced and different world than we are.
They can't have no hoverboards. Like,
yeah, they can have a nigga who creates a whole ice planet, but they can't have
no hoverboards. That's too cliche for sci-fi. Anyway, so they use the hoverboards, they travel, and they're going. They go through, like, this town for the first rift. They go through the mountains for the second, and then, like, this swampy area for the third. The third is actually in a tree stump, kind of like a huge, like hollowed out tree log, a fallen log, and you have to crawl through it. And as they're going, Devin gets separated, and he like freaks out as Devin does, and he like destroys the log around him, and he ends up like underneath the swampy area. And then after finding Gabe and Eduardo again, he's like, bruh, what the hell? Like, why'd you like teleport me, or why'd you transport me away? And Gabe's like, you're fucking lucky you didn't end up on like the inside of the planet, because you just fucked with a rift. You try to blow up effectively a rift. If you would have kept going straight, we would have ended up in the same area. But you wanted to like be crazy and dumb and blow this shit up, which I thought was funny. But and another thing is, like, I want y'all to like think about this. I am the one like writing the words, but sometimes, like, if you ever written anything, you know this, like written something like fictional like this, like a story or a book, like you sometimes don't think when you're writing. You just, things just like words come out, and it's like that sounds good, I'm gonna keep that. Like, so sometimes I'll say like I like that, or like I love that he said this, even though yes I am the one that said it, but it's like I didn't always like prep time it. It just kind of happened in the moment, and I'm like, I love that this happened.
It's also, I think, so long ago that it's like it's acceptable. It's not like you wrote this yesterday. Like this is years ago. This was like 2019 or maybe 2020.
Like 2020, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been years ago. Exactly. He's allowed to like his 3-year-old work.
Exactly. But anyways, Gabe explains that there's something weird about the castle, the old kingdom, that he can't quite pinpoint locations for when he's doing the rifts and teleportation, stuff like that. So it's very tricky because he can't pinpoint where he's at. So then they end up going up to the castle door, the kingdom doors. They get inside, and they're wandering around the streets, where they spot like these people looting the shop, and they kind of hide away. The people leave, and Gabe says that he wants to go investigate like what they were looking at in the shop, because this place should be abandoned theoretically. There shouldn't be anyone here. So they go inside the shop. Gabe looks around, doesn't sense anything. Devin gets this like weird tingle down his neck, like the hairs are standing up, and he's like, there's something weird about this place. I don't like it here. I don't want to be here anymore. Gabe looks around, doesn't find anything. We're operating on the assumption that whatever those guys were looking for, they found it. So there's really no use of sticking around trying to figure out what they took, because it's just some old abandoned shop. And I should also mention that this whole time, Devin, whenever he's going through stuff, he hears voices. So it's like a voice, like there's one time where Devin said, or was thinking, I think I just saw someone. No, I didn't. I think I'm crazy. And there's like a voice in his head that's like, you're not crazy, which causes him to freak out. He's like, what the hell? Like, that wasn't me. And then, of course, Gabe and Eduardo are like, what the fuck you want about? This is dumb. Like,
yeah, nigga
dumb.
Stupid.
Exactly. So, like, he has that operating, like, he's, like, having, like, a mental break or something for some reason. And, like, this weird feeling on top of it, it's not settling right for him. So they end up going. They make their way to the castle. They get inside, and they get to the doors, and it looks like the gates, like, the doors are open, as if they've been exploded from the inside out. So they're kind of, like, bent outwards. And they get inside, and, like, the whole corridor and everything is completely destroyed. There's, the walls are fucked up. There's holes in the ceiling. There's craters on the floor. And as they get deeper inside the castle, there's like sheets of ice with skeletons inside. Like, there was a big battle that was raged at this place. And once they get to the throne room, everything in the throne room is messed up except for the throne. And then they go on beyond that, and beyond that, everything's fine. It's literally just like the walk up to the throne room that's been, pretty messed up. So this sparks Gabe's interest. He's like, it's curious. It's almost like there was a fight here. But wait, I don't know anything about this, because technically everything about the Old Kingdom's like hush hush, we don't talk about it type thing. It's almost like an urban myth because it's been so long since people have lived there. So they make their way.
I was gonna say, like, we're not even supposed to know about. Like, it's not a thing that they teach. It's not like, oh, there was an Old Kingdom. It's like we literally heard a rumor about it from on the streets and whatnot. It's not a confirmed thing that the schools in Soteria would teach you, because they don't want you to know about it, because they're trying to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
So even just us knowing about it is still not very common. So it's not like you can't go to everyone else and be like, oh yeah, you remember the Old Kingdom? Like, what are you talking about? Like, a lot of people just wouldn't even know what it is.
Mm. Oh, I should also say, when Devin walked in, he did trip over something, and then he was like getting mad at Gabe and Eduardo, like, why'd you trip me?
Yeah.
And then Gabe and Eduardo like, I didn't trip you, dog. Like, you're tweaking.
Yeah.
And he starts getting mad and stuff.
Yeah.
But
he did not trip on himself. He did trip on something, though.
It will be relevant later.
Yeah.
But anyways, they get going. They make their way to like this weapons room. And within the weapons room, because they want to go investigate the weapons room, whatever. And there's like a sign that says the Four Horsemen. So we're going to stop, take a sidebar. They, like, the Four Horsemen, they basically served as like the generals for Sam and like the Empire, like way back in the day, in a sense. But they are no longer around. But as they're walking, like I said, they see
don't the Four Horsemen things have like nameplates for them, or no?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
Oh, okay.
So they see the room like labeled the Four Horsemen, and they go inside, and there's like these four like display cases, and they're all labeled. So the first one's labeled Patrick, and there's nothing in there. It's completely empty. The second one is labeled Esley, and there's a rapier with like a bunch of cloth wrapped around like the sword. The handle's exposed, but like the blade part is wrapped all the way around with like this like really thick cloth. The third one says Eddie, and it's like a huge, like very heavy looking set of armor on a mannequin. And the fourth one is Jose, which has like this pretty big crystal ball that is sitting atop of like this metal holder that's underneath it. And Gabe talks about how he remembers reading stories about the Four Horsemen, and they all had specific weapons that were like specifically crafted for them. So Patrick had a trident. Patrick's the leader of the Four Horsemen, and he had a trident that boosted basically all your base stats. So like your affinity, your strength, your speed, your intelligence, your reaction time. literally any base stat you can think of. It gives not like a huge boost, but like a noticeable boost when you wield it.
It's like a Super Saiyan, effectively.
Effectively, yeah.
You're holding a Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And then there's not much information about Esley's rapier. Eddie's armor is said to like absorb and release energy at will, depending on the user. And then Jose's orb, it's basically like a seeing eye orb. It makes you clairvoyant, so you can look through it and like see the future and whatnot. Stipulation is that the orb doesn't always show you exactly what you want to see, but sometimes it'll just show you kind of like what you need to see or like what you will see eventually. It's not always, you can't control it. The only one that could control it was Jose.
Yeah, like if anyone else were to look into it,
it's just like
it might not even show you anything.
Yeah,
you're not worth it.
Yeah,
but Jose like complete control.
Exactly, because he has time.
It's made for him too.
It's made for him, exactly. So they leave, and then they go into the library, and Gabe's like, "Why? I bet you," because they're talking about the battle that Gabe assumes happened in this place. And he says, "I bet you there's some sort of like archive or digital archive that'll tell us, what happened here." And so they go to the library, they look around, they finally find a door that's digital archive. Devin goes, destroys the lock, and then like creams his pants because Devin loves destroying shit. So he's like, finally, I can destroy something.
Very because he's bored. Like that's his character trait. He doesn't like the boring exploration detective work.
He just wants to fight. Stuff. He wants to fight. And they finally get in there. There's like a computer room. Gabe goes on, looks at all the files, right? In the files, there is
do I like hack the computer at 13 years old?
Well, you said that like you're like lucky I took a computer class in middle school. So
I hacked an encrypted computer made by like 400-year-old Solturian officer at 13 years old.
Yeah, you kind of him.
Crazy.
Gabe goes through it. He finds a file labeled rebellion. He's like, rebellion? I never heard of no rebellion. So he clicks on it, and it turns out that the Four Horsemen actually rebelled against the old government, which is big news. He sees videos, newspaper clippings, and everything. There's like a video of like Jose, like basically summoning meteors and just like destroying everything around like the castle and whatnot. There's like dead bodies everywhere. It's really crazy, right? But then at this time, something like the command prompt pops up on the screen, and there's a guy that's like, "You shouldn't be here. Now, unfortunately, I have to kill you." And there's a dude named Steve pulls up, and he's like, "My name is Steve. I'm an A-class warrior of the Solitary Military. You should not be here. All right, now it's gonna die." And like mid monologue, Devin like mollywops this guy, like one taps him. Dude goes flying, hits the wall. And he's like, every bone in my body's broken except for my finger. And Devin's like, my bad, and breaks his finger because Devin's just like a problem child.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Problem child's an accurate depiction of Devin as a kid.
He's just a problem child. So then that happens. Then like there's more guards. So then Gabe's like, let's just leave. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. They get all the way back home via the rifts. Gabe closed the rifts and whatever. And they all go home. Right? A little bit more that happens in the first chapter. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Like an eyelash or something. So like Elijah is there when Gabe gets home. And Gabe's like, I gotta go to bed and I got stuff tomorrow. And Elijah's like, all right, for sure. Then it goes to the living room. It's like a dark living room. And there's another voice that speaks to him. And lo and behold, Elijah eventually calls this guy Doc. So he's talking to this guy, Doc. And Doc's like, you didn't have to lie to him. And it's like, I didn't lie. I just said, I'm chilling. Because it was like, I'm cutting
the conversation.
Yeah, like there's like conversations. I'm not gonna go too much in depth with it.
Well, I think this conversation is a little important though. Not very important, but it's like, so basically, like I come home, Elijah's like, "Where'd you go?" Right, and I'm like, "Nowhere." Basically, I didn't do nothing crazy. He's like, "You sure?" And like, "Yeah." He's like, or something along those lines. And he's like, "All right, whatever." And then that's when I go back up there, and then he talks to Doc there.
Yeah, and the lying is just like not telling Gabe that he knows effectively.
Yeah.
So then a little more dialogue ensues, just like them talking about plans, and then Doc's like, all right, we should get going. Flash of red light, they disappear. Gabe's going to bed, and he's like, okay, happy Elijah, doesn't know anything about it. I'm just ready to go to bed. I got this tournament tomorrow. It's a big deal. I gotta do good. Failure's not accepted in my family. I should also say, everyone that has parents, at least like the three, have parents. Like their parents are like pretty like high up in the military.
Yeah, you have to remember, like, because like we said, Soltiri is a huge planet. We're living in the capital city, so this is the most competitive city here. Of course, every parent there is going to be like pushing you to be successful.
Exactly.
If you're not like a successful person in the capital,
it's failure.
You're pretty much kicked out. They're like, why are you even here then? Go to the like outside.
Gabe's dad is like a high-ranking officer in the military. Eduardo's mom's like literally just the head of the infirmary units and stuff. So basically everything medical.
And so was Devin's mom.
Devin's mom's up there too. Like they work together. So it's like they're both like way up there. And then like Eduardo's dad's also up there. Like
in the ranks.
Like he's actually higher ranking than Gabe's dad technically, just like by ranking wise.
And then Eduardo's dad, or not, Devin's dad as well, is up there as well.
Well, Devin's dad don't exist. Remember?
Does he not?
Mm-mm.
Is he like walkout dad?
Yeah, walkout dad.
Oh, that's right. Because that's like the whole point. They're like,
your dad dead. He's like,
your dad dead. I think someone was like, that's why you don't got a dad or something, right?
Yeah.
Didn't someone say that?
It happens later. I'll tell you what happens. But anyways, they have like all that stuff. And I'm trying to think of where I was. Oh yeah, so then Gabe's like, I gotta go to bed, and there's like a thread, like a string that's on Gabe's bag, and it like unravels itself and goes back to Elijah, right? And Elijah's like, get some good sleep, bro. Like it's like a whole like anime setting up like this like dark, mysterious, what's happening next? What's Elijah doing?
Yeah.
And then Elijah puts on a mask with like a red X over like on the side, and he walks in. There's like this long corridor. Think like if you watch Bleach, like the Espada, like they have like that long table, they're all just sitting there, and like that's like what happens. And like they have like this conversation about, all right, we got the tournament tomorrow, we got to look out for potential prospects, and then we got to move forward with these different plans, basically setting up like a mysterious organization type thing. Cuts to next day, and everyone's getting ready. They all meet up in front of the Coliseum, like in the Capitol. And there's
that's like the end of chapter 1, right?
This is like the tail end of chapter 1, yeah.
Oh, we're still not done with it? Damn,
I told you, chapter 1's long. Like, I told you when I was rereading it, it's fucking long.
Dude, I thought it ended at the Elijah scene.
No.
There's still more?
Yes.
Damn, I guess it is longer than I thought.
Yeah.
I guess I should have reread it.
Yeah. Anyways, they meet in front of the Coliseum. They have to, like, basically, like, check in. Like, hey, this is me. This is my affinity. This is like my number. Like, this is like my student, like my examination number. So that way they can get you checked in. And what they're gonna do, as I said, there's a 30-day tournament. But each turn, there's like one tournament per day, and it's a 16-person tournament. So there's like a lot of kids they gotta funnel through. And it's effectively every tournament is randomly organized, except for the first one, which I'll get to in a sec. But then they go through all the sign-in stuff, and then Gabe meets up with Devin, Tyler, Eduardo, and they're all talking. And like in front of the Coliseum, there's like a fight happening between two kids, and like everyone's obviously like going around them like fight, and like they're talking. There's a kid named Max and a kid named Alex, and like they're at each other's throat. Alex is like, I'm gonna beat you, I'm gonna win this shit, like you ain't nothing, I'm better than you. And Max is like, all right, we'll see about that, like you're kind of not him, but okay, type deal. And then Gabe runs into this girl, Ruby, and he was asking what was happening. We runs into this girl, he asked what happens, and she was like explaining the rundown of who they are. So Alex is Sam's kid, the Emperor, and then Max is the son of Daniel,
the Shining General.
The Shining General is like I should mention
second
Daniel,
in command.
Daniel's second in command to Sam. He's like his right hand man. He's number 1 in the military, other than Sam. So I guess number 2 technically in the military.
Well, I don't think the king counts in the military, does it?
Technically, it's like the head of the military.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's like the general,
Yeah, like he's the king, he's the general. Yeah,
exactly. So these two have obviously been raised together, and they have like a lot of beef. And Alex is like, I'm gonna beat you because you ain't shit. Like I'm better than you. All this stuff. Ruby gives Gabe information, and then also tells him that her name is Ruby. Think of like, I always thought of like Akame when I thought of Ruby, in a sense, like with shorter hair.
Yeah. Doesn't she have brown hair though?
Yeah, with brown hair. So like Akame with brown hair and like baggy clothes.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of what I think of, because she has like the pale skin, the red eyes, everything.
Mm-hmm.
She just kind of goes with that fit, that aesthetic. There's also another character named Redhead, who's also named Tyler, based off of a friend that we have in real life, Tyler. I guess what his whole government name. This other guy, this other Tyler that we know, and he has red hair. So to kind of like eliminate confusion, Tyler is Tyler in the book, and then the other Tyler is Redhead. So
Yeah.
everyone calls him Redhead. So that way it eliminates like confusion of who's
Exactly.
who.
I'm pretty sure you can guess what he can do.
Yeah.
Based on
I want you to. I'm not gonna tell you yet, but take a wild assumption about what he could do. All right.
Yeah.
Put in the comments what you think he could do.
Comment right now. Don't wait until we say
Don't
it.
wait until we say it and then come back. That's dumb.
Yeah.
You're a bum
cheating.
if you do that.
Don't cheat.
Yeah. So then it's announced that 11 of the first day's 16 are randomly selected, and there's going to be 5 recommendations, 1 from the Emperor and then 4 from the generals. So editor, you can probably just throw up the list of like who's in the first tournament, because that's like
There's a picture of it, right?
there's a picture, so let's put like the
you
bracket,
show the bracket
like, right here. It's the only tournament of the entrance exams that we actually go in depth with.
Yeah, we don't even
because like
we
all the
even
main
make the other brackets.
pretty much all the main characters are in this tournament, so
Yeah.
everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, you'll know the winners of all the other tournaments, but you don't know their bracket because it don't matter that much.
It really doesn't matter.
I think
look,
you only know like 2 other matchups that happen in other tournaments because have you went to the participants yet? Oh no, we're about to.
Yeah, one, and I guess like the winners, if you call that. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying matchup wise, I know you would know at least know 2 of them
for sure,
from a different round.
Yeah, but like this is the
that
bracket.
picture.
Look how much more we have.
It's not that much.
It's like 3 pages.
All right.
So
that's
anyways,
a bracket picture right there.
the bracket. So the 11 that were randomly chosen, which these names are probably going to mean they're literally going to mean nothing to you right now.
Yeah.
They will once because like obviously the next chapter is going to be the tournament starting. So we have Tyler Barrow, aka Redhead. We have Maddie Jordis, Mike Smolin.
Right, you made the last name.
It's Nordic. It's Hajordis.
Okay.
It like threw me off for a sec.
Okay.
Mike Smolin, which is actually a guy we know in real life. Dylan Reed, which is also a guy we know in real life. Maurice Brown, which is also a guy we know in real life.
A lot of these people are people we know in real life.
Yeah.
That's what the premise of the book is.
Cassie,
we cast people
we cast people that we know and we give them powers and
Yeah.
like, put them in the story.
But only if we like think they're cool enough. Like there's some people we do know where like they don't deserve a character in the story.
Or like some like fun gag characters.
Yeah.
Cassie Treya, which I don't know. I think that's just a random.
Nah, she random.
Obviously Eduardo.
Random.
James Chikushoto, random.
I know him.
Well, I guess
James Chikushoto.
You know James Chikushoto, yeah. Nick Romanoff, random. Luis.
Isn't Nick Romanoff from Call of Duty?
I don't know. I haven't played Call of Duty like the story modes.
Okay, I guess you just chose a random Russian name then.
Yeah, it shows random Russian name.
Okay.
Luis, but we actually know a guy named Luis. That's not his name, but like Luis, and you'll see why his name's that later.
Yeah.
And then George Teleski. Those are like the 11 that are randomly selected, and then the ones that are like specifically chosen to fight on the first day, which is why this makes this tournament like real good and also real tough. We have Max, which is the son of Daniel. We have Alex, Max Fasantigo, that's his name. Alex, what was his name?
Alex
Winters,
right?
Yeah, basic ice name. Yeah, Alex Winters, the son of the Emperor. Gabe Fleming, the son of, or a brother of Elijah. Ruby Scarlet, which is Ruby, and then Devin McIntyre, which is Devin. Those are the ones that were selected by each of the generals and the Emperor to fight on this first day. And then, I guess if you want to throw up the bracket again, you can throw it up. But this is the bracket. That's what it looks like. You can kind of see your people. You know their abilities. So I want you to kind of like think of like who's winning who. You don't know the abilities of the randos, but I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Think about it logically. If they're like a no name.
Are they winning?
If they're a no name and you got like the son of the Emperor and a brother and a son of generals, like, come on, like use your brain.
You can
assume. You can assume based off of like the bracket what's gonna happen, right?
If you think about it, like everyone aside from I think because wait, can you go through the recommendations again? Not the randos?
So the recommendations are Alex Winters, son of the Emperor.
Yeah.
We have Gabe, brother of Elijah, one of the generals. We have Max, son of one of the generals, the strongest general. Like, you have Devin, which powerhouse straight up. Yeah. Like he's kind of him a little bit when he was a kid. And then Ruby, which is a no name, but that was like artist or Esley's selection.
Yeah. Did we said like who each person chose, or did we leave that anonymous?
I think we left it anonymous, but I mean like I guess I can just say it now. Like, obviously Sam and Daniel chose like their kin, right?
Yeah.
They chose their kids. Elijah chose Gabe. Esley chose Ruby. And then Jose's just like nonchalant, and Elijah's like, pick Devin, and he's like, I guess.
Yeah.
So then like Jose picked Devin, because
if you really think about it, it's kind of obvious who chose who, right? If
yeah, that kind of goes with
pare
it.
it down.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Sam picked his son. I think someone else picked his son.
No, I think definitely Daniel picked his son, and then Elijah picked Max.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so I was gonna. The reason I asked him to do that is because there's only one no name in here that's a no name to you guys that is relevant. But other than that, yeah, like the ones we told you, like the recommendations
pretty much
are the names to know.
Yeah. So then we cut to like everyone, once it's announced, like they either have to go home or like go find their seats in the Coliseum. And then if you're like selected for the first day tournament, you come together and they're gonna like go through the stuff. And Tyler's like, darn, I didn't get picked. So and the Tyler on the bracket is redhead. That's not like Tyler. Just keep that in mind. So Tyler's like, darn, I didn't get picked. I guess I got to go back to the orphanage. And Devin's like, oh, shucks, man, you should stay in the audience and watch us. And Tyler's like, geez, Tyler. Oh, geez, man. And Tyler's like, no, I got to go back to the orphanage. You know, that I can only leave if it's my day. I only came here just to see if I can get selected.
I was thinking about this like a while ago. I was like, if like Deity Pressure was like in movie form, people would just think it was just like, oh, we couldn't get the actor for a lot of screen time because it seems like you're always being written out of
for no reason.
It's just
I'm there for like 2 seconds and I'm gone.
It's like if like the Tyler was played by DiCaprio, it's like, oh, they couldn't afford DiCaprio for like a couple more scenes, so that's why he's out.
They had it for 10 total minutes. They gotta figure it out.
Like early in the book, Tyler gets no screen time.
It takes quite a few chapters.
Yeah.
But anyways, so all the people get together for the first day's tournament, and they go to like this like weapons room. They're allowed to select whatever weapons they want, however many they want, whatever. People select their weapons, blah blah blah. And then for the first match, which is, I don't know if you're probably not gonna keep it up. It's gonna be Max and Maurice. They make their way to this like the stage. It's like a Coliseum. There's like a big stage. Think of like, I guess like I don't know, like some Dragon Ball tournament. Like you got like the stage.
The
yeah, like you have like the stage and like the audience around it and stuff.
Yeah.
And like everyone else goes up to the viewing, like this like specific viewing room for contestants. The general's in their own viewing room. The emperor's in his own viewing room. The announcer's in his own viewing room. And that's the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Announcer's goated. That's announcer goated. Y'all ain't ready for that one. I'm not gonna talk about much about the announcer because he says a lot of random stuff. But, like,
it's just about like if you read the story, you know the announcer's like he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, he's
of the 3 fans who read this story, he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, they're like announcer, kind of him.
Kind of Himothy.
But that's gonna conclude chapter 1. So we can go into chapter 2. I thought it was gonna be long, bro.
It's not that long.
Whatever. All right.
Chapter 1, just we had to do so much introductions. You had to think about that's why it's so long.
Yeah, I guess. So kind of getting into chapter 2, it's gonna start the tournament. So let's see, I go down to like my notes. So chapter 2, it's Max versus Maurice. So this fight starts, and Maurice, his affinity is steel, so he can like make steel constructs or like encase himself in steel, whatever. So he has like a mace as his weapon. And he, gets his mace, starts running at Max, swinging. Max like, weave game that hoe. It's not touching me, whatever. And then eventually Max like stands still and lets the mace hit his face. And like, dude doesn't move. Maurice is like, what the hell are you made of, bro? And Max is like, I'm made of him. That's what I'm made of. Effectively.
It's not what he actually
says. That's effectively what he says.
Just know a lot of what we're gonna say, mainly Tyler's gonna say here, is paraphrasing. Don't take everything Tyler says as like that's exactly what it says.
If I say that's exactly what it says, I'll say quote. This is what it says. There's only like 2 things I can think of I'd quote.
Yeah. Unless he says quote, just assume it's paraphrasing.
Exactly. But then like they're fighting for a little bit. Max has a guandao, I think is how you say it. It's like the long staff with like the blade at the end.
Yeah.
And then he also has like a sword, but he doesn't use it for this fight.
Yeah.
And so he's like kind of like playing with Maurice a little bit because Max is like so much stronger than Maurice, right? Like it's kind of just not fair. I look fat. Kind of not fair. Like Max.
This fight is just a flex.
It's just a flex basically. So like Maurice is like fighting, and Max is like, no, you gotta fight like this. Like put your stance like this. Like maybe do some like steel knuckle, like some spikes on your knuckles, like steel coat your arm. Try to fight me like closer range. And Maurice is like, like taking notes low key. He's like, good idea. He starts doing it. There's a point that I really think is funny where like Maurice creates like he hits the ground and creates like these steel walls. And also like the characters announce their moves because I think it's kind of cool like naming moves. So it's like Maurice is like steel wall, and then he like steel walls, and Max just like jumps on the first one and just like rides it up. Like, this is what you got. So he like walks around, and then he brings out the Guandao and like jumps down in between the walls and cuts a door and kicks it like open. It's like he's just like stunting on this guy.
Yeah.
And after like a brief exchange, Max knocks out Maurice, and he's like, "That was fun, I guess. Like, time to go for the next round."
Thing to know about Max, you'll learn as the fights go. He's a pretty good guy. He's a chill guy. He's not cocky.
He's definitely
his actions may seem cocky, but he himself is not cocky.
No, he's a very good, like, cool guy.
Yeah.
It's just the power level is that much of a difference.
Because he's so strong, it'll seem like what he's doing is cocky, but it's not in his mind. He's not doing because like I'm trying to show them how strong I am. It's not why he's doing it.
Exactly. It's more so like he was raised by this general, like the general of the military, like the head general. Yeah. And he's always been raised fighting, so it's like he doesn't take instruction or criticism as a bad thing. He thinks about it as like a way to improve. So when he's fighting someone that he's obviously way stronger than, he's like, okay, we'll take this like a learning opportunity. Let's see what we can learn from this fight and maybe make you a better fighter. Because in the end, like if they're both joining the military, he wants better fighters working with him, obviously. But also it's like he wants a better fight. He's like Goku. Like he just wants a strong opponent to fight. So it's like if he can make people better fighters and then make him have more of a challenge, that he's going to do whatever he can to make a better fighter.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if they're a better fighter, he becomes a better fighter because they fight each other and it's a better fight. If he washes everyone, he's not going to get better. Exactly.
Then we move on to the second one, which is Mike versus Maddie. So we'll start off with like Maddie. To start with like the basic fight. So Maddie's ability or affinity is blade creation. So she can just like create like blades, whatever. So she starts like the fight by creating like instantly a blade tornado and like throwing it at Mike basically. And Mike is cocky. Like Mike is
he's like the opposite.
He's like
of
the
Max.
exact opposite. Like Mike does what Max does, but like with malice.
Yeah.
Like Max would be like, no offense, but this, and then Mike's like full offense.
Full offense, but you're bad.
Yeah. He's like, you're bad, kid. You're trash. You should kill yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And he means it.
So he's like the blades, and then like the tornado like goes like past him but doesn't cut him, and he's like, wow, that was weak, you're doing it wrong, do it this way. And he points up at the sky, and like the whole sky just fills with blades. And this is where Mike reveals that his affinity, because he's like, I'm gonna beat you, so it's not gonna hurt me to like tell you what it is, because like I'm that strong. Like no, he's like talking to like the viewers, for like the participants of the tournament as well, is like, I'm so much stronger than you, it doesn't matter if you know my ability, because I know you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, and when you see his affinity, he's kind of right to think that, because in a sense you would think the same thing if you were him.
Like why would you not think the same thing? But his ability is memory. And basically think of like Rufus from Fairy Tail.
If you've seen it.
Like he just has like, if he remembers an attack, he can do the attack. He can like create illusions of himself. It's like, I remember when I was over there 10 seconds ago, but like he can create an illusion of him being over there 10 seconds ago, but he's not actually there anymore. You're just looking at a memory. So it's like, that's pretty much the inspiration of how I wrote him, is basically just Rufus. There's like whatever Rufus did that he kind of did himself. So he can see someone's affinity and mirror it back at them. So he like boom, and then he like throws it down. Maddie gets stabbed a couple times. She's like, damn, like I didn't realize you had like a similar ability, or like you just like a copycat or something. And he's like, it's not just like a cheap imitation. This is the real deal, okay? Like I'm not just some like mimic. I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Which he's not wrong. It's technically copying an ability, but he's actually using the ability. He's not just like mimicking what he sees. He actually like learns how to like use the ability. Have you ever seen the show Heroes? That was on, I think, ABC. It was like late 2000s. There's a guy named Sylar. He's like the villain, and he what he does is that he'll track down, because like in the show, some people have like superpowers, and Sylar, he's a watchmaker. Yeah, watchmaker, and he would cut people's like skulls off and like dissect their brains to learn how their brains work, so he can learn how their abilities work. And then basically he like rewires his own brain so that he can acquire that ability, right? So, where was I going with this?
I think you were trying to explain how Mike is different from copying.
Oh yeah, so it's not copying. Like Mike is actually just like legit learning how to use
Because it's a memory. He's seen it.
He's seen it, so he's actually using. He's not just like mimicking it. He's actually using the ability.
Yeah.
So the fight progresses. Mike's kind of just mollywopping Maddie. She can't really do much about it because everything she throws at him, because she relies heavily on her affinity. She can't really do anything back at him because he's just like mimicking it. And that's just tough.
But also important thing to know in this fight, he also uses Maurice's affinity as well.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's throwing like blades at him, and he makes the same steel wall that Maurice did.
I forgot about that. He makes
just to
steel
show
wall
off that like, I can do other people's abilities.
Exactly.
Because like I was watching Maurice fight, so I knew I can use his as well.
And like he also like covers his arms in steel, so like when she throws like a sword at him, he's like, that's weak. Get that out of here. Like get that weak shit out of here. So he's just like wrecking her.
I think he also says like he's also saying while he was doing a bunch of stuff with Maurice's Infinity, he was like, this is how Maurice should have been using Infinity. He's like,
that's actually in a later fight.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, yeah. So like Mike starts like monologuing because like Maddie's basically done whatever. So then like while he's monologuing, Maddie is like creating a blade behind Mike so she could like skewer him while he's like not paying attention to it. And then like mid like monologue, Mike's like, oh, and I also know you're gonna do like that pathetic sneak attack because not only can I see what your affinity is, I can read your fucking mind. Because that's just one of the abilities he has because of the memory.
He's insane.
So like he's reading her mind while she's doing it, and he's like, "That's why I know it's ain't gonna work." And he like literally just catches the blade, and at the time he catches it, the identical blade pierces Maddie and basically kills her. She's like on the ground, she's like spitting up blood, like she's bleeding out everywhere. And like this is a weak fight, weak sauce. I'm winning this whole thing. Y'all are ass.
Yeah, I'm taking it to the crib.
Legit just says, "GG's, bros. I got this." So then that's going to end that fight. Y'all have to understand, we're giving, I'm giving very bare bones what's happening in this fight.
There's
like,
so much more stuff in the
There's so much
fights.
dialogue. There's so much like hand-to-hand combat. They're actually using different abilities. But like, I'm not trying to give like everything out because that would legit take too long.
Yeah.
It would take so long. But anyways, we finished the Mike and Maddie fight. Next is going to be Alex versus Redhead. Now, I want you to think about Alex's name. Okay, his dad is Ice.
Yeah.
And Alex is his son, and his last name is Winters. Yeah. So let's think about this for a minute. You're wrong. It's not actually cold. It's snow. So you're wrong. I know it makes you feel a little dumb. Granted.
Yeah.
But what is snow but small ice?
Let's just say, to make you guys feel better, if you feel dumb, Eduardo thought his ability was time. So
Eduardo didn't.
Who'd you think said it? Jose?
Like in the book or in real life?
In real life.
Oh yeah, Eduardo thought he was time.
Yeah.
Like, no. He thought Eddie was Steel. He's
no,
like,
that was
yeah.
Devin.
Was that Devin? Oh yeah, Devin was like, yeah, Eddie's Steel. And it's like, why? And it's like, I don't know. I heard you talking about Steel. Like
he's talking about the armor. Yeah.
Like he got Steel, right? That's dumb. That's a weak ass argument, bro. But anyways,
we're not even worried about talking about.
So anyways, his affinity snow. But to be fair, what is snow but just really small ice crystals? So you're not wrong. So yes, snow and Redhead. Again, think about this. Red hair. It's fire. He has a fire ability. He can just like create.
The writing in this story is crazy.
Yeah, like I know it's deep. Like the symbolism goes.
Tyler was in his bag.
Low-key, I was like, Winters, snow. But anyways, so this is a matchup. You would think, oh yeah, heavily favors Redhead. Fire, melt the ice. There might be some water, mitigate some fire, but that's like regardless. That's like just simple fire beat ice or snow, whatever. Right? Yeah. Like it's really simple, bare bones. So Redhead's going into this fight thinking, oh yeah, like in the bag, I got this. Tight matchup, I should dub City. Right? And Alex is thinking the same thing. It's like, tight matchup? That's crazy. I'm better though. Because Alex is very arrogant. He puts up this facade of like this persona of I'm stronger than you, and I will let you know how much stronger than you that I am. Again, goes back to like what Max does. But Alex doesn't have like as much malintent as like Mike would. Yeah. But he does a similar thing to what Max does. He's like, oh, I fought Max. I fought Daniel. Those guys are really strong. And like, I'm strong because I fought them. So I'm better than you.
Like these three people, like that we were saying, like Mike, Max, and Alex are similar, but they're not all the same. And I wouldn't say even two of them are similar to each other.
Yeah.
Like the closest people are probably Alex and Mike.
Yeah.
But the difference is, right? Mike actually thinks everyone is beneath him.
Legit, everyone, no matter
like
what.
Like everyone, no matter, except maybe the Emperor. Like that might be.
And
the
that's it.
only
That's
person.
a hard maybe.
Yeah.
Too.
So he thinks everyone is beneath him. That's different. Alex has this pride because his dad is the king of this whole nation. He has pride over the military. So he expects everyone to keep the same level that he keeps himself at. He's like, I want everyone to hold themselves to a high standard and be good as well. And if you're not good, you don't deserve it. Like you don't deserve any props or anything. Whereas Max is like, well, if you're not good, we can train you, get you up to that level. Whereas Alex doesn't think that way. Alex is like, you should train yourself. You should already be at that level.
It's on you for not being that strong.
You should be at that level.
Exactly. And also another thing is like, Alex also calls people peasants, like unironically, because he's legit just the son of an emperor.
Royalty, yeah.
He's royalty. So it's like if you're not Max or like Daniel or his dad, you're a peasant.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like you're just beneath him. And Tyler's like just some no name. So it's like or Redhead's a no name. So it's like you're a bum. You're weak.
Yeah, I mean,
like
he's right. He is a no name.
Yeah, he is a no name. But so
not
start
even
the
the
fight.
Strongest Tyler in the story.
Announcer's like, by the way, between each round, the announcer's like, ooh, that was a good fight. I can't believe this happened. Let's get to the next one. Like he's like energy. He always throws some shade at someone, which I love. I
love the shade that.
I love the shade.
We drop his name real quick. So you know, his name is Gertrude.
His name is Gertrude.
Gertrude's always every match he throws shade at someone somehow, and it's always hilarious.
I love the shady. I'll get to it like later, but I love the shade he throws at Devin before like that one Devin fight. And Devin's like, bruh, he can't win in this world.
I think someone's like, nigga, your name is Gertrude. Why are you talking to me like that? He's like, okay, you're the bum. You lost, not me.
Oh, darks. Anyway, so Redhead starts the fight, shoots fire out. He's like, I'm gonna beat you. And then Alex is like really calm. He's like, create some clouds. Okay, snow's coming down. The snow gets heavier and heavier and heavier to the point where it's like basically like a really contained blizzard. And no one can see inside the blizzard because there's like so much obstruction of view because of the snow. And you see streams of fire shooting out, which you can assume that they're fighting inside the blizzard. But over time, the fire gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's a very small flickering flame in the middle, and it disappears. At which point the snow disappears, and Tyler or Redhead's on the ground unconscious. And Alex is like, Dub City, easy dub. Peasant learn your place on the ground, you filthy peasant.
Yeah.
And
this is the second shortest fight in the whole tournament.
Yeah, second shortest. Which you're going to be like, second shortest? That don't make no sense. We'll get there.
Yeah.
All right. So then next is going to be Gabe versus Luis.
Sir,
Gabe
steps up to the plate.
This is a tough fight.
To right.
Yeah. Stuff
actually, that reminds me, like, maybe not so much as prevalent in this version as it used to be, because even though there's like 4 versions technically, even version 4 has like 2 versions of it because of like the fact that we switched from first person to second or to third person. But I remember originally writing the tournament, the way we separated, I think for first round, because there's 8 matchups, right? Me and Tyler each did 4. I remember when Tyler was, because we were in Discord when we were writing these fights, and Tyler's writing the Luis and Gabe fight. He was like, Gabe, this fight taking a lot out of me.
I can't do it, and you'll see why. Like it gets so. I could have made it easier on myself, but I'm like, that's disingenuous. I want to have a genuine fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was because I think at the time when we were writing, because what we did, I think we did every other one. That's what I think we set it up. So I was doing the fight right after this, and I was like, oh, I'm finished. I'm like, Tyler, where you at? You're like, I'm done with like 2 pages, and I'm not even halfway through the fight.
Yeah.
This fight is extremely long.
It took forever. But
even then, I think we did trim it down a lot from when it used to be.
I think for sure
we cut out a lot
because I found a way to like optimize the result. So I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But anyways, so fight starts. Gabe has like a sword in his back. Think like Trunks, like future Trunks. Got the sword in the back, and then like Luis got 2 daggers. So they Gertrude, ready, set, go. Fight starts, and no one moves. They're just chilling there, right? And then Gabe takes a step, Luis takes a step. And it's like Luis like mimicking his movements. And then Gabe opens a portal to like rush Luis. But like when he gets there, I think Luis is just like gone. And there's like a second portal there. And Gabe's like, that's odd. I don't think I opened a second portal. That's crazy. So they start fighting. And Gabe's like, I'm just going to finish this quick. So Luis goes for a stab. Gabe creates a portal on his hand. And he like grabs the dagger so it goes through the portal. And the other end of the portal was like on Luis's neck. But like as the knife was going through, Gabe felt like a sharp pain in his shoulder, and he like disengages and he realizes like he's been stabbed. And Gabe's like, that's weird. Let me try this again. So he goes again, and like this time he's like eagle-eyeing, like paying attention to what's happening. And as the knife is going through, like same attack, same everything, set up. The knife's going through the portal, and he's watching the end of the knife come out the exit portal. And just before it hits Luis's skin, another portal opens and it goes through. And that's when Gabe's like, oh shit, and then like narrowly avoids the next attack because he knows what Luis is trying to do. So at this point, Gabe's like, oh wow, you have a portal affinity too. That's really weird. I heard it was pretty rare. I've been all over the place. I ain't never seen no one with a portal affinity like me. So GG's, bro. Like that's tough. So we have a portal mirror match, right? So I think y'all can kind of like the smarter one of you, like you're pretty smart. You can probably figure out like where I'm going and why it's so hard to write this freaking match. So it's like you got like portals. So they're fighting, going all over the place, opening all these portals. It creates like a labyrinth of portals, and it's like going in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And then Gabe ends up like on like the ledge near the general's like viewing area, and he looks inside and like looks at Elijah. And I'm gonna have like generic, because Gabe is basically like everyone's the MC, like the main crew, but like Gabe's like the MC. He's like the Natsu, I guess. So it's like the MC. So like generic flashback. Gabe gets bullied, talks to Elijah. Elijah's like to talk to the bullies. Bullies beating up some stinky kid. And then like Gabe's like, hey, you gotta stop. And I'm like, oh, you brought your brother here? That's crazy. Like fight your own battles, punk. And then like Gabe's like, I can't do it, Elijah. And Elijah's like, do it, Gabe. And Gabe's like, and like fights back.
Were we like 6 at the time too?
Yeah,
like, we're already 13 now.
It was
so it's a flashback.
Yeah, it was like 7 years back. So you're like a kid. And Elijah's like, remember, if they're bigger than you, use that to your advantage. And that's like the whole point of this generic ass flashback. Because we wrote it when it was in first person, so it makes sense to have a flashback. And I was like, I kind of want to keep it.
Well, the main reason we ended up keeping the flashback isn't because it was like important to the fight, because I mean it kind of is, but that's not the main.
It was like one line.
It's because of the Devin thing.
Well, that's part of it. But there's also like another line. Like there's like one line that Elijah says. Like I like that line. I'm gonna keep it here. So
like the stinky kid is Devin.
The stinky kid's Devin. So like Gabe knocks out the one kid, and then like he creates a portal like on like the big. There's like a big kid and like a tall skinny kid. And like here's a portal on the big kid's stomach, punches through it, knocks out the skinny kid, and then Devin's like, and like sucker punches the big kid, and he's like, hey, thanks, brother, let's be friends. And that's basically how Gabe meets Devin, right? And then through Devin he meets Eduardo.
Yeah.
So then Gabe's like, snap back to reality.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, let's go gravity. So like he's like there, and he's like, oh, I remember, I gotta like use my brain. I think the whole point of like the flashback was like, I can't just like try to fight when like they're like equal to me or like it's a tricky situation. I have to like actually use my brain. So this is where it gets like really tricky. I had to like use 10,000% of my brain. So I think I ended up saying there was like 24 total portals. So 12 portals that were created, or no, 28 total portals, 14 created, 7 each. So like Gabe like mnemonically labeled like 1 through 7 for like the portals that he created to the entry portals, and then like 8 through 14 is the correlation to those portals, and those are the exit portals. Because Gabe could like sense the like these are the ones that I made, because like you can close a portal, so it's like you have to know like what the energy signatures are, and you can't close someone else's portals. At least at this point. So then like he's like, okay, so I'll do the same thing for Luis. And he like was like numbering them off. And he's like, all right, so if 1 goes to 8 and 2 goes to 9, and like numbering everything off, then I should be able to whittle it down. So like they're re-engaged, they're jumping through the portals, and like Gabe's like, oh, he's going through 3. All right, he's gonna come out through, I don't know, like was it 10? He's like 10. So I'm gonna go through 17, and like and I was doing this whole thing. I was using 9 million% of my brain, and then Gabe ends up like knocking out Luis, right? And then like Luis is like, you bitch, I'm gonna kill you. And then Gabe's like, likely story, opens a portal underneath him, which like goes to like the top of the dome, because there's like a glass dome, and it's like just underneath it. So Luis is gonna fall, and Gabe's like, I guess he'll probably die. So then he starts walking away, and Luis is like, it's not over yet, bozo, I'm gonna beat you. And then opens like another portal, and he like uses the momentum of him falling as like a thrust. So he goes through the portal on the ground that he opened, and then the other portal is like behind Gabe, like standing upright. So he's going through it using the momentum of the fall. And then Gabe's like, bozo, takes out his sword and like baseball bat swings, breaks, I think it says breaks Luis's nose and jaw, and like knocks out his teeth or some shit.
Broadside of the sword.
Yeah, the broadside of the sword. So it's not gonna like cut through him or anything like that. And Luis is just like knocked out. And then Gertrude's like, wow, that's tough. I don't know what happened, but Gabe won this one.
Yeah. I do also think it's important. It'll be important later in the later fight that is going to happen. But like the only time, like in this point of the tournament, we're 13-year-olds, like we're kids. We're just thinking this tournament is just to get in. We're not necessarily taking the tournament as seriously as life or death. So when Mike did end up killing Maddie, everyone looked different about that because they're like, wow, he actually killed someone over like a tournament like that, which like instantly like villainized Mike to the other people.
Yeah. I forgot to also say, because it reminds me, Eduardo says like he's like, sour about it. His sister died 3 years prior in the tournament because someone killed her.
Exactly, yeah.
And he's like, you don't have to take it this far.
Because you don't really.
Because you don't. And then Mike's like, I had to put the trash where it belongs.
Yeah.
In the ground.
Yeah,
so
I think it's important for a future fight.
Yeah, I forgot about like that piece of information. Yeah, it's like pertinent. Which if Devin was here, I'd be like relevant, dumbass. Yeah. That still pissing me off.
All right.
Anyways, so
next fight.
Well, like what happens after that fight though is like, because Gabe was like, oh yeah, I remember Elijah was like, hey, come see me after your first fight. I want to talk to you. So then Gabe goes up to like the general's room, like the viewing room. And he's talking to like Elijah. He's like, well, Gabe, do you remember Daniel? Daniel, you remember my little brother Gabe? And then Daniel's like, oh, yeah. Like, Daniel's like a nice guy. Daniel's a genuinely nice guy. Like, he's just like Max. Like, he's really like positive.
Runs in the family.
It runs in the family, which makes sense because like he was raised by Daniel. So it's like obviously they'd be really similar. So Daniel's like really nice, outgoing, really friendly, especially like the kids, like, hey, whatever. Because like we said, Daniel's like, which this is going to be like later information. I just want to say it now just so you kind of get a reference of like who he is. Think of like All Might. So it's like he's a teacher. He's not, almost not the principal, but he's like the face of UA. Yeah. So it's like Daniel's like the face of SMA, but he also is the principal. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's the leader of the class, like S class. So he's like, I'm teaching the best of the best. I'm the principal of the school. I'm the face of the school. Like I'm everything. Like
he's the leader of the military.
He's the leader of the military. He does it all, and he can
because he likes doing it though. Like the thing is, like he doesn't have.
It's not an obligation.
He doesn't have to teach at school. He does it because he likes to do it.
And it's also like these people will be like my troops.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're trained right.
Of course, especially the S class, which is most likely people who are going to go to his regiment. So exactly. It's like, of course, I want them to be the best.
The best of the best. So like he's a really nice guy. So then they're talking. Gabe's like, oh, I gotta go because I'm gonna go talk to Devin real quick before his fight because Devin is the next fight, I believe.
Yep.
So Gabe's like, I gotta go talk to Devin before his fight, just whatever, because they're friends, they want to talk. And so he leaves, and then like this whole thing happens with like Daniel and Elijah. Elijah name drops the title of Godslayer. So this is like their first introduction of gods in this universe.
Yeah.
And this is like where Jose chimes in. Jose is like talking about the god selection process, and Elijah, I think at the time he'd only be like 19 or something like that.
He's like 21 actually. He's in his 20s,
young.
I'm pretty
he's
sure.
Young.
Yeah. Yeah, relative, like we said, the age is huge. Like Daniel's like 400.
Yeah, he's like 400 or 500. Jose's like at least 400. Artist is
at least
Ashley's at least 400.
Yeah, they're both at least like all the generals are at least 400. Like besides Elijah, the youngest is 400.
Exactly. So it's like Elijah's like really young, and he's only been a general for like a couple months. Because I forgot to also say, like in the first chapter, the reason why Gabe's in the capital and like Gabe's family's in the capital is because Elijah became a general. Even though his dad was higher ranking, he wouldn't be like in the capital city. He'd be like on the periphery still. But because Elijah is one of the only 4 generals, the whole family got to move into like this higher up place, and like Devin and Eduardo's moms being the top of the medical unit, that also puts them higher up. So that's why they're all in like the same area. And like an orphanage is just like an orphanage.
Well, it's like the main orphanage.
Yeah, it's like the main orphanage of like the kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just kind of there.
Like sure, there's multiple other orphanages out throughout the planet.
They're like sister orphanages.
Yes, convenience is the name of the game, right? It's convenient that Tyler is in the orphanage.
Exactly.
There, but like there is a reason why, but it's not important right now.
It's not going to be important as of what they know right now.
Yeah.
It'll be important way later.
Yeah. So just know it's not just convenient to be convenient. There is an actual reason.
Exactly. But anyways, So he name drops like gods. Jose talks about the god selection process. So this is where Jose talks about like there's a guy who's like the god above, like the one above all, the god above gods, basically. And he selects gods. So gods aren't just like innate in this universe. The god is basically just like a title, and he breaks it down. So it's like, basically think about like the god of fire. He may not have a fire affinity, but fire has its derivatives like heat, volcano, sparks, like ash, even like those could all fire. That those all fall under the domain of fire. Like electricity, that falls under like the can fall under the domain of fire. So it's like you could be the god of fire without having like a fire ability, but it's like you're the strongest in the entire universe for that specific one, like that specific ability. And then Jose is like, there was once a time where I was offered to be a god, but I said no because I'm him. I'm cool. And then Esley, I can't say artist. Esley's like, yeah, like, do you even remember that? And Jose's like, it's been a long time. I slept since then. You can't expect me to remember all this. Like, come on, bro. Like, what do you think I am? Right? So then at this point, Daniel walks in and he's like, what are y'all talking about? And Elijah's about to be like, oh yeah, we're talking about gods, but it's taboo to talk about gods. So Esley steps in, oh, we're talking about like the good old days and how like he's young and don't know nothing. And Daniel's like, true. And like they laugh together because like artists and Daniel have this relationship, not like a romantic relationship, but they're really good friends because they've known each other for so long, right?
Yeah.
And like,
is it artist and Daniel or artist and Jose?
Esley, but Esley is talking to Daniel. Like Esley and Jose have that like this other relationship, but like I'm talking about Esley and Daniel. They have this really strong relationship because they've known each other. Like they're gambling buddies. Yeah. Think of like, I don't want to say think of like Hashirama and Madara, but it's kind of like that where it's like they were like rivals at one point, but then it's like we're kind of friends now. Like at a point, But it's not the best example. I can't really think of a good example like other fiction that's like they were just like they're really good friends. They knew each other for a long time. Like they go out gambling and drinking together. Like they're both generals. It's a whole thing. So she breaks attention, and then we cut back to like the Devin fight. So it starts with like this guy Nick. And Nick is like a pretty scrawny dude. He's really tall, but he's like pretty scrawny. But he has like a shovel, and it's a golden shovel. And then Devin's like, that's a weird like weapon. I don't remember seeing that like in the weapon room. Yeah. And Nick's like, this ain't no puny weapon. This is like imbued with my brother's soul, so it's stronger. And then obviously cut back up. Eduardo's like, what's imbuing? And Max is like, Gabe, I'll field this one. So like imbuing is where you effectively you can imbue any item with either your like life force or your affinity, but whichever one you choose, and you can't. I guess you can technically choose both, but like giving your life doesn't give your affinity. You have to like do it one at a time, and the item, it has to be like a specific item to hold both. Anyways, whatever you choose, you lose. So it's like if you choose your affinity to imbue with this item, you lose your affinity, but the item now has your affinity. And if you choose your life, it makes it like way stronger than normal, like way more durable, way stronger, everything. But you lose your life in the process. So it's imbued with his brother's like soul, so it's stronger. It doesn't have an affinity to it, but it's just way stronger. And Nick's power is sand. And the way I was writing Nick, like this whole fight with Nick and Devin, because Devin is a very much brawler type, in your face, use my fist, I'm gonna beat you up. He's that kind of type, right? Yeah. And when I was thinking about that, I was trying to think of like a good fight. Like it's like Nick is sand. How can I use sand? And the only thing that came to mind was Gaara versus Lee, Chunin exams. That's like the perfect example of like, it literally is just like a verbatim, just like a brawler versus sand. So I just kind of did a lot of stuff similar. Like Nick has an attack where he like encases, it's like the sand tomb, and he's like, you're gonna suffocate. Devin's like, I ain't think so, buddy, and breaks out of it because it's just sand. Like at the end of the day. But there's a couple cool attacks. Like there's one thing that's like sand discovery. I don't remember if Gaara might have done something like this. Which might be what I taken it from, and you can tell me if he did. But it's like it levitates the sand, and then like he can use the sand as sensory. So it's like even though Devin's moving faster than he can react, he can use the sand as like a wider field of feel. So when Devin comes in for attack, he knows where it's coming from. So he could like use that. I think
Toph might have done that, but I don't think
might have done that. Someone did that, and that's where I got the inspiration from. But Nick's like swinging around this shovel, and it's like bing, bing. Think like Thor's hammer on Captain America's shield. It's like shock waves every hit, like boom, 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 going crazy, right? And after a couple fights, like Devin's like, bro, you're a bum. Like I'm tired. Like 'cause Devin's toying with this guy. Like think like Max versus Maurice, but it's like Devin's not like giving him advice. Devin's just like trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm so much stronger than you. It's not fun anymore. Like I'm just gonna like take you out. So then he like tries to attack, and like Nick swings his shovel, and Devin's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this hit. So he like takes the hit on the face with the shovel, and it's like, boing, 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 and like it's like it hits really hard, and it breaks the shovel. And Devin's like, look what you did. You broke your shovel. Are you happy? And like while he's saying this, like blood is coming out of his nose and his ear because it was a really hard hit. Like it was a hard hit.
It's a shovel imbued with his brother's
exactly.
life. So
like I said, like every hit was a shockwave, and Nick hit hard enough to break it. It's not like Devin punched back. He just stood there and like on the head. So it's like he's like, oh, Max did it. That's funny. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because Devin and Max have this like rivalry, right? Like
Max, it's one-sided at this point.
It's one-sided at this point, but Devin's like,
that's because Devin looks at Max as like, oh, he's the strongest guy.
He's the strongest guy. I'm gonna beat his ass, right? Yeah. But anyways, like breaks a shovel, and then Devin knocks him out, whatever. And then Devin has to go to the infirmary because that's the whole fight. Devin wins. I don't think there's really anything else for that one.
Not really.
That was kind of a boring fight. I mean, again, if it's a no name, if you don't know the name, it's pretty much gonna be a boring fight. The exception being Mike, because Mike's just kind of cool. The powers and stuff. But Devin goes to the infirmary. Turns out he's concussed. Obviously, he got smacked in the head pretty damn hard. So they're like treating like the immediate, like the bleeding, getting that to stop. He's concussed, so they have to like deal with that, whatever. So then the next fight is gonna be Eduardo versus James. So like we said, Eduardo's affinity is nature, so he just like makes vines and shit. He can like mix things, so it's like he'd be like, if I take the properties the size of grass and I take the property of tree bark, I can make wood chips. Basically, like he can like combine stuff. Just think nature. He's just nature boy.
Yeah. It's broad for a reason. We could just give him anything. Basically,
so anything nature related, we can just kind of just give him, and he just does it.
Yeah.
And
you
so
just gotta accept it.
You accept it because it's canon in the universe. It's established from the beginning. He just does it. And then James literally is just pain, like the beast path where he just summons beasts. Yeah. So he just like he's He's a beast summoner, so he just likes to be summoning beasts. The two beasts that he summons, there's a black dog. So all his beasts are black, like jet black, and they have blue eyes, like not like blue eyes like a human's blue eyes, like all around it's just like a shining blue eye, which is just directly taken from like the Renegon with the beasts from the pain paths and stuff.
I guess.
So the two that he has a dog. It's like a pretty big dog, and he has like a pretty big bird. I don't think I gave the dog the name, but the bird apparently I gave a name, Tochika. I don't know why, but the bird has a name, Tochika.
You were vibing with the Tochika name.
I was vibing with Tochika. I didn't give the dog a name, Rufus. I don't know. So like James, boop boop, summons the two. They attack. Eduardo like creates vines. It takes the dog down. Boop, but he can't get the bird. So he's like having to avoid the Tochika. He's like weave game, and then like he like gets a vine. Is like and smacks it, falls to the ground. He thinks it's like done. He's like, all right, I'm gonna take out like these guys are strong. I don't want them to make more, so I'm just gonna take out the summoner, right? Valid logic, right? Yeah. These guys are strong. Before he summons more, I'm gonna take out the summoner. So he runs at him. Tochika gets up, starts flying at him, and Eduardo's like, no, like this is bad. And then Eduardo's like, big brain, Jimmy Neutron, brain blast. I'm not just gonna smack him down. I'm gonna have the vines run underneath me, and when he's about to hit me, I'm gonna skewer him. Big brain play by Eduardo. Eduardo doesn't get much. He ate.
He shined in this moment.
He's shining in this moment, right?
Yeah. And
so he's running, and he jumps up to like punch James. I think I had said James's feet are like entangled in vines, so he can't break out. And James is like, bitch, like Tochika lives in the sky, like you're in its domain now. He's like, am I? And then like the vine comes out from the ground, skewers Tochika, and then like Eduardo is like punching James, and then like I said, because I thought it'd be funny if it was like the starlight is like behind Eduardo, so he has like a halo around him, and then he's punching it, and James is like, oh my god, it's like a beautiful mosaic that my grandma has on the wall. And even Max is like, it's very poetic. Like because a lot of these fights, every single one of these fights, I think about it in terms of like animation. So like these fights are all animated in my brain when I'm writing them, and I just have to take what's in my brain and write them down in words. So like I would like at this time it would be like the like the comedy animes where it's like still frame like and it's like
Yeah.
like high quality and it's like the lights and stuff. That's what I was thinking of for this like punch. Eduardo beep knocks out James, wins the fight. Eduardo big swinging dick like yeah I'm him. GG no reskill diff attack diff affinity diff like you're just bad, you're bad kid, delete the game, kill yourself. Like it's like all the stuff that Eduardo says when he like barely wins a game of Overwatch or something. So then we get to the next fight, which is Ruby versus George. Now this is a interesting fight. Mainly because George is again one of those very boastful people. He's like, my affinity rare broken, I'm him, like I'm so good, watch this. And he like I guess I should probably say their affinities first. I'm not gonna say Ruby's yet.
I don't think either one of them you shouldn't say yet.
Oh, I guess yeah. So George is like basically teleporting, like
he's disappearing and
reappearing like instantaneously, and he's like fighting Ruby. And then Ruby's like, all right. I was also say George has 2 hatchets and Ruby has like a katana.
Yeah.
This is kind of relevant. George's things at least. So George is like attacking with the hatchets and he's like cutting Ruby like a little bit here and there. But Ruby's like really fast. I mean, she got in a recommendation. She's got to be like not weak, right? So she's like weave game, like, oh, I see. Oh, okay. Logically, you would like attack my blind spot. So like I'm going to go and like avoids the attack, whatever, right? So then George is like boasting like, yes, my affinity is broken. I have time. No one else has time except for Jose, but I'm better than him because I'm him. And he's like going off all this stuff. And Ruby's like, so what? Your ability is time. Let me guess. You stop time, move during the stop time. I guess I should go back. Ruby said, so what, he's making me to believe that you're stopping time, moving during stop time, and resuming. Yours like, yeah, you got it. And then she's like, that's dumb. You probably got like teleportation or something. It's like, you lost me. You had me in the first. I think I actually said you had me in the first half, but you lost me in the second. You're wrong. I have time. And then one thing you should know about Ruby really hates liars. That's like one thing she can't stand is liars.
She makes that point in this match.
She makes it very clear. She cannot
gives him a chance. She's like, I'm gonna give you a chance. Tell me the truth.
Yeah, because because he lands and then she's like, all right, so during your stop time, how many times did I cut you? He's like, don't be ridiculous. You can't move during stop time. That's why time stopped. Silly. And all of a sudden he's like, okay. He spits up blood. And she cut him all those times. And she's like, 37. I cut you 37 times during stopped time. Come on, buddy. You probably had teleportation or something. And he's like, okay. She's like, I'm gonna give you one more chance to say your real affinity. Because like, this is getting on my nerves now at this point. And George is like, but I stopped time. I move very fast. And then like, she's like, all right, you're done. And then she cuts off his both arms and legs. Yeah. And then like, she just leaves. And he's just laying there. He's like, and then Gertrude.
This is the Gertrude line.
This is the Gertrude line. Gertrude's like, man, that's rough. She made him look like a chicken nugget. That's crazy. It was really funny. And then she gets back and Awara's like, you have to take it that far. And Ruby's like, relax, bitch. I didn't kill him. He's just not going to be fighting anytime soon. She's not wrong.
It's true.
She didn't kill him.
He living.
The medical unit came up and they were like,
they clutched up.
They clutched up. They took him to the infirmary, clutch or kick. They ain't getting kicked.
Yeah.
So it's like they clutched up, making sure he's not dying.
You're talking about the top kingdom in the universe right now. They got it like that.
They got it like that. Like they're them.
Yeah.
So like he's not dead and whatever. So then we're going to go to the last fight of the first round, which is Cassie versus Dylan. So Cassie's affinity is love. So basically, she just like makes you fall in love with her, and then you just like do things for her. Yeah. Effectively, that's it. And then Dylan's is also water, which is relevant because at the beginning of the fight, he's wielding a trident. And he like swings a trident around. He's like yelling out, I want to quote it, but it's not a quote, but it's like, I want to be like my idol Patrick. He was like, the strongest there ever was, and I want to be just like him. I was blessed to have the same affinity as him. Patrick also has water. Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna be better than he ever was. So I'm gonna like use his attack. And one of Patrick's attacks is the sea serpent. So he like creates a serpent of water. So he like swings the trident around, makes a serpent, and then smacks it on the ground, and then like makes like 5 more. And then I think he calls like serpent overdrive or something. And he's going to attack Cassie. And Cassie's like I'm gonna say like she's beautiful, but like think about like anime beautiful. Like she's conventionally attractive and basically it like attracts all the male gaze.
Yeah.
And then it's like this. I guess just think of like succubus, I guess, but like without like the tail and the wings, you know. And then she's like, "Oh, you don't want to kill me." Mwah. And she like blows a kiss. And then she's like, "You want to take yourself out?" And Dylan's like, "Damn, Shotty, you right." And then he gets on his knees and starts banging his head on the ground until he's unconscious.
Yeah.
And Gertrude's like, "That was a boring fight. That's crazy." Anyways, 10 minutes, next round. So that's the end of that fight.
Yep.
So then we go to like back to round 2. This is a big fight right here. This is Mike versus Max. This is a big one because you already know that Max is kind of him, Mike is kind of him, right?
Yeah. Two Himothyes
fighting each other. And low-key, I think Mike knows this because the first thing he does, frame 1, pops his ult. He's like, I'm not gonna play with you no more. Like, I'm not gonna let this go longer than it has to be. I'm gonna beat your ass right now. So he yells out memory overload. So what memory overload is it forces the person, like the other person, to literally relive every single memory that they've ever had in their entire life within like 30 seconds. So it's like brrr, and they're reliving it. And at the same time, Mike is also watching the memories. And as Mike says, it's so he can like get a better gauge of how they use their affinity and like their weaknesses and stuff. So it makes it like easier to fight them or whatever. And like now I have because he always just has, because he has a memory of the affinity. He always has it. So it's like, it's better to know the best way to use it that they know. So then he can, develop it and whatnot. So Max is down. Mike's boastful. And one thing that Mike does is he uses a lot of synonyms. So like, he's like, I don't know exactly.
I know what one thing he said to like Maddie. He's like buffoon, foolish. Like he uses he picks one word and then uses like he goes to thesaurus.com and just uses all those.
This is what I did.
Yeah.
It's so like I just like threw synonyms because like he wants to show like he knows he's smart, which he is smart and he is strong and he has a powerful ability, but he also wants to make you know that he is smart. And if you do not admit that he is smarter or stronger than you or whatever, he will make it so that you believe that. Like he's like gonna do everything in his power to do that. So Max is like the favored, the number 1 seed right now. Like Mike's like underdog right now. He must take him out. So Max is down on all fours. He's like reliving all these memories. And Mike's over here like boasting to the crowd. Like, look at that. Like this dude says that he's the son of the shining general, the leader of our military. And I beat him in 30 seconds. This is your prince? No shot, bruh. He ain't shit. He's weak. All this stuff. And then Max stands up and he's like, thanks for that, bro. And then Mike's like, what? Like, what just happened? And then Mike's like, Max, you should be down for the count. I made you relive every failure you ever had, every time you've ever been hit, all this stuff. And then Max is like, basically like, power of friendship. You showed me my memories. You showed me how good I had it. You showed me every sparring session with my dad. You showed me every time I've met with the Emperor. I've talked to my friends. Every good meal I've had. Every memory of my mom. And you're gonna think that it's a bad thing? Like, nah, bro. You made me stronger. And Mike's like, fuck. So at this point, like, he's like, all right, I'm gonna fight, right? So they're fighting, and at this point, like, I forgot to say, during the, because there's so much shit, during Max and Maurice, Max says at the end that his ability is enhancement.
Yeah.
And that's all he says. He doesn't go in depth about anything. So his general ability is just enhancement. You just take that, he can enhance things. That's about it, right?
Yeah.
And at this point, Mike knows that because he can read his memory. He's seen the affinity at use. He's like, all right, so I'm going to do this, right? And Mike's logic is that like if you can enhance something, I'll just like unenhance it.
Yeah.
And then it like neutralizes it out, and then like there's GG no re, like I'm better than you. So then Max is like, all right, if you're gonna do all that, I'm not gonna like waste the energy trying to enhance shit. I just won't enhance shit anymore. I'm gonna fight you straight hands. Like you're gonna have to see me.
Yeah.
Right. And then
he basically said, "I'll save you the trouble."
Like I'll save you the trouble.
So you don't. Cause it wasn't even like I don't want to waste my energy. It's like I don't want to waste your energy, which is so crazy.
Like he's like you're we'll just go straight hands then. We'll go raw. Yeah. So then like Mike's like, you ain't gonna beat me raw. Max pulls out mollywops. I'm like, oh, pink, and Mike's like, oh, what the fuck? Where did this come from?
He got hands like that.
He said you ain't even enhancing. Max is like, I know. I don't need you to fight your ass. And then like they're fighting. Mike's pulling everything out that he's seen. He makes like sandstorm. He goes steel wall. He goes Matty blades. He's like busting out all these things. Boom, 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 boom. Trying to fight Max. But Max is just like, I don't care. Like it ain't gonna touch me though. Like I'm better than you, right? So they're fighting, and then Max is giving like this whole dialogue of like, see, like you rely on your affinity too much. You ain't training your body. Like one thing you did show me is what my dad taught me is you can have a really strong affinity, but it don't mean shit if you ain't strong yourself. So he's like mollywopping him, and then Mike, like he's like decently strong, I guess. Like if you take like the average 13-year-old in Soteria, he's like stronger than them. But it's like Max is on like a whole nother level.
He's on like adult level at that point.
Like
at
he's
13.
beyond adult, like some adults. Like I mean,
yeah.
think about like
even Devin was.
Like
yeah.
think about Devin one-tapped an A-class warrior.
Yeah.
Which like Steve. Which it's not like Ken, because that's the only interaction we have with Steve with Kenan right now. He will be a reoccurring gag that he just shows up. And like think about like Pilaf from Dragon Ball. He just be showing up and then gets hit, and like that's it. Or like Team Rocket, they get blasting off again, and Devin is like, "Who the fuck are you? Get away from me!" And she's like, "My bones, they're all broken."
My bones are mashed potatoes.
But regardless, he's still like legitimately an A-class warrior.
Yeah.
And if you think the only other class above that is S-class.
Yeah.
Like he's an A-class warrior. He's really strong still, like relatively speaking. And Devin mollywopped him one tap, technically two tap, but like. One tap, take him out of commission. And Max is like assumingly comparable to Devin. So it's like he's really strong. But Mike is like probably just like above average 13-year-old on Soteria. So he's strong, but he ain't like that strong. He's probably like stronger than like Eduardo or like physically probably on par with like Gabe, roughly.
Probably a little bit above.
Maybe a little above, yeah.
Yeah.
But then like he's going through all this stuff. And then Mike's like, all right, memory illusion. Just trying to like throw Max off. It don't work because Max is like, dumbass, you said your ability. I know that ain't you. So like you're probably like over there. He's like, I was right, you're right there. And then Mike's like, what? Like Max is very meta with the anime. Like you're gonna throw out the name of your ability. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it's like what skit was that where it's like he's like super punch, but he kicks him? Was that like Smosh or Key? What was that? You know what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It might be SNL, honestly.
It might be because it was like he's like,
and they're like, you can't do that.
Super mega punch. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Throw a punch, dog. So he's breaking the meta, right? So he's doing all this stuff, and then Mike's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm gonna take us both out. So he like creates a sand meteor, legit the size of the stage, above the stage, and he encases it in steel. And he's like, look at this. Like, I'm taking us both out now. I hope you're happy.
Well, I think the reason he does this is because he's like mad that Max isn't like enhancing, right? So he's like, no shot you survive this without enhancing, basically.
I forgot about something.
The whole point of the match is he wants Max to use enhancement.
Yeah, he wants him to, but I forgot. Like, he actually tried to encase Max in this. I actually forgot about this because I was skimming it because I was like, I think I should be fine for this fight. And I just remembered it. He actually tried to encase it the same way that Nick tried to do or did do with Devin, and then encased it in steel. He's like, if you're not going to use your enhancement, then you can't break out of this. You're just GG Nari. And then he's like up there, and then Max taps on Mike's shoulder, and he's like, "That's pretty big, huh?"
I think he like actually says like, if I was in there, no shot, I was getting out.
Max is like, if I was in there, no shot, I'm getting out without my affinity. So GG's, you got me.
So you good play there.
Mike's like, how did you get behind me? And Max is like, I just ran over here. And Mike's like, so you're telling me you ran faster than I can see, faster than I can think. I couldn't even hear you. I was reading your mind this whole time. You didn't even think about coming behind me. And then Max is like, yeah, I just did it. And then Mike's like, all right.
That's when he knew he was him.
Yeah.
He was like, all right.
Like Mike realized that like if Gabe wasn't the MC, Max the MC.
Yeah.
Like he's him, right? So then Max is like, we'll just use this as a timer. So it's like, I'll beat you before it hits the ground. So like they're going super fast because realistically, this thing hits the ground in like a couple seconds. Like it's not a long time for this thing to fall down. Yeah. Right. So like the rest of this continuing beyond this point of the fight takes a couple seconds. Okay. But really they're just moving really fast. Anime time and whatnot. So then Max is like, all right, but I got lucky that you couldn't read my mind for that one thing. So like, if you're going to keep reading my mind, I'm just not going to think. I'm just going to like go like UI. I'm gonna go MUI, and you're not gonna be able to react to me because I'm faster and stronger than you. So it's like you can't read my movements because I'm not thinking of anything. I'm just hitting you, and that's good. So he pulls out a sword, and then Mike's like, well, lo and behold, little do you know, I actually trained swordplay for 3 years. And then Max is like, that's cute. I've been training since I was a baby. And Mike's like, no difference. I'm better than you. And then like Max is like, they're legit sword fighting. And then Mike's like, holy shit, this guy's him. Not only does he have hands, not only does he have the ability, not only is he smart, he got the swordplay too. He's just him. So then he's like trying to fight back. And like they're fighting. And then I think Max eventually like ducks the sword and like uppercuts him and like gets him on the ground. And he's like, all right, this fight's over. I'm getting bored. So like, I'm going to take you out. So he takes him out. And then he's like, okay, no, I do have to actually use my affinity to like get rid of this thing. Because like, that's tough. So he gets up there, like, dices it. It's gone. Like,
well, I think he basically says though, it's like, it's not cheating because I agree.
I already won.
He said, I agreed I wouldn't use it to fight you.
Yeah.
I beat you already.
I beat you. I'm done. The fight's over.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to like take this thing out.
Yeah.
So he does. So he takes it out.
He's a man of his word.
Yeah, exactly. So he takes it out. And he's like, all right, GG Noreen. Heads up to the viewer stance. That's it. So then we get to the next fight, which is Gabe versus Alex. This is also another interesting fight. Oh, I forgot one thing that Mike did because it's pertinent in this fight. Mike used Alex's snow to create clones of himself.
Oh yeah.
And then Max is able to like fight. He's like thinking, he's like, all right, so you're not gonna be in the front because that's dumb, but like you ain't gonna be in the back. Because that's what I would be that's what you would expect me to be expecting. So you're probably like third or fourth row. So like and gets him, and then Mike's like, "What? How did you get me?" So he's like fighting this whole thing, and then Max like says the line, this is literally like a cheap imitation of someone I fight every day. Like, you ain't gonna use a cheap imitation against me because like, I know the real shit. And you ain't gonna do nothing to me.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense because he fought the real deal.
Mike has only seen Alex do it one time.
Exactly. He didn't even like really see that because there wasn't clones. He just saw the snow. And he's like, I guess I just make snow clones of myself.
Yeah.
And then Max like, it ain't nothing. Like I've seen the real deal. This is a mere imitation type deal. But then we get to the Alex Gabe fight. And this fight starts with Alex making clones because like he knows that Gabe is stronger than Redhead was. So he's not just gonna like do a cheap Blizzard trick. He's like, I gotta make clones because like whatever. And he makes 10 clones. And I think Gabe or someone says like, why only 10 clones? Like, Mike made hundreds. And then Max is like, because the 10 are gonna be stronger than the hundreds would have been. So it's like he can make more clones, but they're gonna be weaker. Or he can just make a couple clones and make them really strong, which is really in the long run gonna be better to make a couple clones and make them way stronger.
Especially because like the hundreds of clone thing only works because Mike was going for the whole like trick you, which one am I?
Exactly.
Alex wasn't like, I'm trying to trick you, who am I? I'm just trying to beat you.
Exactly.
It's a different like approach.
So like and then Gabe's fighting him, and Alex clone's got the hands. So like they're going like I think I said 5 of them rushing at once. So then Gabe's like portal, and like they all have like spears and trying to stab through. But then Gabe's like ring of portals, and like they stab themselves basically. GG. Yeah. And then they're out. So then Alex is like, all right. Let's see how you do like a one-on-one then. And like one of the clones runs up. Gabe brought in the hands because he does have some training. Doesn't have a lot of training like Max does or anything like that. But he did train with his brother a little bit, and he's also like grew up like not on the streets, but like him, Eduardo, and Devin would go on adventures, and then through those adventures you sometimes get practical experience for fighting. So it's like you do have like Gabe has some experience like fighting and whatnot.
I also beat the bullies at 6 years old.
You also beat the bullies at 6-year-old, and you still have that flashback lingering in the back of your mind, which is actually pertinent in this fight because Gabe defeats this clone, and Alex is like, man, you know what? Fuck this. And he gets the other 4 clones and he fuses them together. So it makes this like giant clone of himself. And then he creates another thunderstorm, like clouds and like snowing. So the more snow there is, the more snow that he has to put in this clone. So he's effectively making like his fucking Megazord over here, about to fight like little old Gabe. So then Alex got this like 20-30 foot giant clone of himself running, attacking Gabe and whatever. And Gabe's having like a dodge that, portal out, whatever.
While
and
the
then,
real
like,
Alex is also
while the
there
real
too.
Alex is also there fighting Gabe. So it's like Gabe's having to manage 2 things at once. And then one of the times, like the clone steps on Gabe. Gabe's like, I gotta teleport out of here. Like I can't portal out. There's not enough time. Like I gotta get out of here right now. So he teleports out. I forgot to say in the first chapter, the teleporting that you did, it pretty much drained all your teleportation energy. because like it takes so much energy.
Yeah. For like at this age, teleportation takes so much.
It takes so much. You did like a long distance.
Yeah.
Like you went like fucking like 50,000 miles or some shit. Like you went like a long distance teleportation wise, and it like drains you effectively. But like you're so proficient in portals, it doesn't really take much energy to open up portals.
Yeah, I've
you
been
just kind
doing
of
portals
like
for so much longer.
Exactly. Like you just kind of like do it. Like you don't do running, you just run.
Yeah.
I mean, you do running, but you know what I mean. Like you get to the point where it's like if you run enough, you just kind of run. Same with the portals. You make enough portals, you just make portals. It just is what it is. But teleportation, that took like all the energy out of you. You're like, I don't think I got any more of those. That's tough, right? So then you're still running the hands of Alex, and he's still feeding into this clone, like this giant clone of himself. And you weave the clone, and you punch him in the face. You get a hold of him, and you're pounding him. You're getting some heat on it. You're giving him the works, and Alex is taking it. And then all of a sudden, one of your punches goes through his face as his like face turns to snow. And then like it cuts to like Max in the viewer like room, and he's like, oh my god, yes, he's finally getting serious, let's get it, it's a super awesome mega dope defense form, or whatever he calls it, because Max likes to give like really like long exaggerated names because he's just that guy. He's just really energetic, really fun, really happy-go-lucky, so he gives these like crazy names. And then Devin and Eduardo are like, what? And then Max is like, yeah, so basically this form, like you can't touch him. Like the only time that he almost beat me is when he went to this form, and like I couldn't touch him.
Yeah.
But like he
like
only do it for
type.
so long because it takes a lot of energy. But it's like you can't touch him. Like it's impervious. He's just snow. So you just cut right through him. You can't do anything to him. So then Alex gets the upper hand, starts like mollywopping Gabe back, because like every time Gabe throws a punch, it goes through him or it doesn't affect him. And then Alex like I punch him back, and Gabe's getting beat up. And then finally the giant like stomps on Gabe and Alex. And then Eduardo's like, that's dumb, Alex, I thought myself. And then Max is like, watch this. And then the clone like picked up his foot. Alex is like melded with the clone and like comes out of the clone, like the leg. He's like, he's fine. But like Gabe's on the ground. He's like, it's like a crater where it was.
Yeah.
And then you're like, Gabe's like, this hurts so much. And then Alice gets over. She was like, yeah, you peasant, learn your place. You know, this is for what your brother did, foreshadowing. Like what your brother did, and I couldn't take it on him, so I can take it on you, and you're just below me. You don't deserve the right to live in my capital city, all this stuff. And then Gabe's like, from the ground, uppercut. But at this point, Alex has like drained all his energy, so he's back to his regular form. He doesn't have the the imperviousness of his nature. So Gabe uppercuts him from the ground, and then takes the upper hand. Bing, 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 bing. Couple exchange of blows. Gabe ends up winning the fight. And then Gertrude's like, damn, if I was the emperor, I'm disowning my son. You ain't gonna come home a loser.
He hit you with me personally.
Me personally, you're not coming home.
Yeah.
You're staying on the streets. You should have wanted this. You want to come home. So Gabe wins. He has to go he's like, I need to go to the infirmary. Like my back is like really fucked up. Like it hurts a lot because he got something that's like 50-foot giant. Like even though it's just
back blown out.
Dude got legit got his back blown out by some giant. So then he's like, I don't infirmary, but I don't want to miss the fight. So I forgot to say, Devin was in the
he's still in the infirmary.
Yeah, not at this point. He was.
I think he is. I think he is still there.
Is he?
Because then we meet him there, and then he's like introducing me to Maurice.
But that was before this round, I think. Yeah, that was before this round. It was the beginning of chapter 3.
Okay.
So anyways, cut back to the beginning of this chapter because I forgot to say this. Devin's like in the infirmary. He's watching it all. They have like transmission screens so they can see what's happening like on the stage and whatnot. So Gabe and Devin at the beginning of the chapter, before none of the fights have happened yet, like the Mike, Max, Gabe, Alex. So then Gabe and Eduardo are talking to Devin. They meet Maurice. They're talking to him. They become pretty good friends. This is where Maurice name drops Gertrude. He's like, yeah, that's my cousin. One of the tropes is that Maurice just got like cousins everywhere. So it's like everybody basically is cousin effectively. So that's his cousin Gertrude. And then we cut back to where we are. Devin and Maurice are in the viewing room now. They're back from the infirmary. And that's when Devin says like he has a concussion. But he's like, no biggie. It's just what it is. Whatever. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up that fight. So next we go to Devin and Eduardo. So y'all can pretty much guess what's gonna happen for this fight. You're not gonna guess what happens, but you can guess who wins.
Like Eduardo's obviously gonna mollywop Devin because Devin can only do so much. Nature is so broad. Like Eduardo can do almost anything you can think about in nature. So Eduardo's just gonna come out there, grab the vines, drag Devin down to the center of the earth, and it's over. GG, no re. But yeah, no. In all serious, no. Devin kind of watches here. This fight is this is actually the shortest fight in the series. Because the fight starts, Gertrude just says, like, begin. Devin instantly just gets behind him, chops him in the neck, and Eduardo's out.
Eduardo's out. That's it.
That's the whole fight. Like 1 second.
That's the whole fight. And then Devin, like, grabs Eduardo, throws him over his shoulder, and walks out. And then Gabe intercepts him, and then he's like, what the hell, bro? You ain't gonna go fight him? And then this one, Devin drops, like, legit the hardest. I think it's the hardest line I've written so far. And it's like, I'll take a boring fight over a dead friend any day, wouldn't you? Because he's talking about, like, on the off chance that Eduardo would have beaten Devin, in the next round, Ruby would kill Eduardo. Yeah,
because you have to, like, looking at the, if you saw the bracket from earlier, like, the way it would match up, the winner of this matchup would verse Ruby. And at this point,
the winner of Ruby Cassie, but you can kind of see where that's going.
You kind of know.
Yeah.
He's seen what Ruby just did to George. She chicken nuggeted him. She's like, and Devin's like, Eduardo's my friend. I don't want him to go through that. Like,
exactly.
And he knows Eduardo's a liar. She don't like liars. So, like,
exactly.
He's definitely going to get maimed somehow.
So he's like, I'll take a boring fight over a dead friend any day. I think that's the hardest line. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt one day. Like, when we get published, that's going on a t-shirt.
Get a version of Deity Pressure Devin on your shirt too, saying it.
Yeah, it's going to go crazy. But that's that fight. And then we go on to Ruby Cassie. Now, this fight is really interesting because Cassie obviously immediately goes for, like, the love aspect. Like, oh, you're in love with me. And Ruby's like, or I think actually Cassie goes for, like, a kick or something, or a punch. Like, she gets in close.
Cassie kick. I think because you were like from Lucy. You were like, Lucy, I'm gonna say Cassie kick.
Cassie kick. And then, like, Ruby's like, get that weak shit out of here, whatever. Like, you're bad. You're slow. And then Cassie's like, fuck it. Like, you love me. You don't want to fight me. And Ruby's like, I do. I love you. I can't fight you. And then, like, Ruby, like, looks at the ground because she, like, her arms, like, she just goes limp. Cassie's like, go ahead and take yourself out. And Ruby's like, that's not gonna be as fun as if I, like, take you out. And then Cassie's like, what? And then Ruby's like, I figured it out. Your ability is in your eyes. If I look at your eyes, I fall in love with you. If I just don't look at your eyes, I'm Gucci. Yeah. Cassie's like, you know shit about me, bro. Like, don't be lying on my name. So, like, they start fighting, and, like, Ruby's just, like, mollywopping her. Like, the katana is still sheathed.
I don't even think the fight lasts that long, really.
No, like the katana's still sheathed, and she's just, like, hitting her. And then, like, Cassie keeps talking, and then Ruby's like, man, shut the fuck up. And she takes out the katana and slits her throat. She's like, you don't need to talk right now. I'm tired of you talking. You can go deal with that. So then Ruby starts walking away, thinking she won the fight. Cassie's like, she didn't say it because she can't say it because her throat slit. She's thinking, like, this ain't over, bro. I'm going to take you out. Like, if I'm going out, you're going out too. So he attacks her, and Ruby's like, man, you always got to be doing shit. Like, just leave me. I won the fight. Just take your L. And then she, like, cuts both of Cassie's eyes. So it's like, and she's like lost her eyes. She takes them out. Yeah, like they're out of the sockets,
like Naruto style.
Yeah, and it's like, and then it's just like on the sword. She's like, get out of here. And Cassie's like, because she can't scream or anything, like, because her throat slit. But now she ain't got no eyes either. She just can't talk or see, and it's just rough. And Ruby's like, I'm tired of your ass. You need to go home. Like, you need to leave.
Basically justifies Devin's decision here.
Exactly, because, like, what would have happened next if it was Eduardo? Like, that would be tough.
Thing is, Cassie didn't even really lie. She still did it. She didn't lie. She was mad about Cassie. She just didn't like
Ruby's
Cassie.
Like, you're annoying. I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
I think Cassie says something like, because I think it comes down to, like, a different side of ideals. Like, Ruby's very much like strong. I guess, like, strong woman in fiction. It's like, I'm not here just for the male gaze. Like, I'm here to, like, actually be strong. You know, you're here just for attention. You're an attention-seeking whore, all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, whatever, expletive. And then Cassie's like, no, like, it's better to be seen by the entire world than to not be seen at all. Like, I'd rather everyone at least see me once, because then at least I know that I've been seen. And it's like a whole thing, a difference of ideals. And then Ruby, like, beats her, and that's it. Yeah. GG no re. So then we get to the semis.
Next fight.
Now we get to the semis.
Is that really it? Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
All right, semis.
Semis. I'm worried it might take a while because the semis actually have, like, legit, like, long fights now. This is, like, long fight territory.
Yeah.
All right, so to kind of like keep this episode a little bit shorter without having to like get
we don't want
everything.
this to go like 3 hours long.
Yeah, we'll just finish the tournament because there is more beyond the tournament, but we can just
that's just where we're gonna leave it. And if you guys want more, just let us know.
Yeah. But we're gonna go a little more broad point because these are the fights that actually like
Take
the other
time.
fights were like, you know, like 5-10 pages, something like that. These are like 30-40 page fights. Like they are, because you get way more in depth because you actually have like your heavy hitters fighting each other. Like it's actually really intense. So it's going to be a better fight in general. So next fight up, we have first fight of round 3 of the semis is Gabe versus Max. So this fight starts off. Gabe's like, all right, I ain't trying to fight all that. My back be hurting, right? Like this is bad, you know. I'm just gonna, you know, teleport him out of the arena because it's like a Dragon Ball rule. If you step off the stage floor, you lose. He's like, I ain't trying to do all that, so I'll just like make him lose by default. So, like Max is just walking. He's like stretching, doing all this stuff, and Gabe like opens portals underneath his feet.
I ain't trying to do all that.
Yeah, I ain't doing all that. So Gabe's opening portals underneath his feet, and Max is just walking over the portals. He's not going through them. And Gabe's like, what? Like this shouldn't be a thing. So then Gabe makes like a big portal on Max, and Max is like, bruh, it ain't gonna work. I ain't going through your portal. And then Gabe's like, is it broken? And then Max is like, it ain't broken. He takes off like his shirt. He has like a tank top underneath. He takes off his shirt. He like drops it through. And he's like, see, it ain't broken. It's still working. I'm just him. And then Gabe's like, bruh. So they start fighting. Max is trying to push.
I think the clip is done. No, you're good. Just keep going.
Okay,
I guess this is playing now. That's our new background.
Max is trying to push Gabe to his limits because like, Gabe, I know you're strong, like, and I know you're hurt because Gabe's like, yeah, I'm still like kind of hurt from the Alex fight. It took a lot because this is like only a difference of like 15 minutes. Like it hasn't been a long time to recover. Like 15-20 minutes. Like it's not a long time. And look at it on the screen. It's like the refresh rate.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
It's fine. So they're fighting. Gabe's like, my back be hurting. You know, I'm tired from the last fight. And Max is like, come on, bro. I know you got more in you. Like, give me a good fight. And then they keep fighting. And Gabe's like, you know what? I can just like manipulate gravity because it has to do with like space and density and stuff. So it's like, I'll just like condense the space, increase gravity on them. So then Gabe's like, all right, increase gravity by like 3. And then Max is like unaffected. And Gabe's like, no shot. I'm going to do it by like 10. Max is unaffected. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do it by like 20. Max is unaffected. He's like, bruh, what the fuck are you doing? And Max is like, bruh, no matter what you do, like you can increase the gravity. I'll just enhance myself so that it mitigates it. And Gabe's like, bruh, I didn't think about all that. So then Max is like, and like for the audience, I know it looks like nothing's happening, but something is happening. Cause like Max is like playing up for like the audience and stuff. Yeah. And he takes off his like sweatpants and he got his shorts underneath. And he's like, look at this. And he drops it and it like Goku Dragon Ball, like Rock Lee dropping the weights, like all this stuff. And like, see, like it's real heavy. Like it shouldn't be doing that. Like those aren't that heavy. And he's like, just keep watching. Just know like this whole fight, unless he turns it off, I am operating under like 20 times gravity. So, you know, like keep that in mind when I'm fighting this guy. Then he's like fighting you. And then he like ends up like beating you like really bad, like beating you up. And you as in Gabe, beating Gabe up really bad, and Gabe's like, you know what, fuck it. If I ain't gonna win, like I know I'm not gonna win this fight. Like I know it's like I'm losing. There's no way I can win this. So I don't have to save anything for the final round because this is my final round. Yeah. So I might as well show out what I can and just like GG, just do what I gotta do. So Gabe starts fighting back like crazy, and Max is like, finally, bro, like how long it take you to do this shit? Like you're finally now like fighting back for real. So y'all are fighting, and like he has his sword, you have your sword, you have beep, 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 and you're like punching all this stuff, and he ends up like breaking your sword. And you're like, that's tough. I don't need the rest of my sword. I got my hands. And he ends up like knocking you out. And then he's like, you know what? That was a really good fight. I can't wait for the next time we fight because I know you will be stronger. And then that's the end of that fight.
Yeah.
I forget, during the fight, you also like summon meteors.
Yeah, like meteorites.
And like it's sort of like destroying the ground.
I think he like dodges them, right?
Well, I think he like just like he like destroys them. Like he dodges some, like destroys some. Yeah. And, like so the ground's all fucked up. So the Gertrude's like, all right, Jose, fix the the stage.
Arena, yeah.
And then Jose's like, and fix the stage because it just reverts it back a couple minutes prior, so it's all good. So the next fight is gonna be Max versus Ruby. Devin versus Ruby.
Max and Ruby.
Yeah, that's something we didn't think about beforehand. Is like Max and Ruby. Like it was just names that we came up with, and then it like eventually just like they're gonna be the same class and shit.
Max
I guess that's
and
spoilers.
Ruby.
Max and Ruby and Max.
All right, yeah, but next matchup though.
Yeah, next matchup is Devin versus Ruby.
Yeah.
So this fight, Ruby's like I kind of do want to start with like this. It starts in like the viewing room because Gabe's like, he doesn't go to the infirmary. He's like, I don't want to watch on those like cheap bum ass TVs.
Yeah,
I want to like actually watch the actual fight. And then Ruby's like talking, and then Gabe says something, and Ruby's like, you know what? You're not a bad guy. Like you're actually like a good guy. You know, you're not like your bum friends. Like you're actually a genuinely good person.
Yeah.
And like if Max likes you, then I like you because Ruby has like a little crush on Max. Like it's established. Stuff happens. She's like, Max cute. He's really nice to me, and she never had anyone be nice to her before. She's like, I kind of like him. He's kind of cute, whatever. And Max plays up the flirtiness, you know, a little bit. So like Ruby's talking, and Gabe's all saying like, bro, my head don't hurt no more. My back don't hurt. Like I'm chilling. And Gabe's just like attributing like, I'm probably just relaxing now, so like I don't have to like think about it, whatever.
Yeah.
So then she's talking, and then she leaves, and then Devin gets down there, and Devin's talking, and they start like the fight starts, and then Ruby's like, how's your head doing? I heard you were concussed. Like that's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, ain't nothing. Pain ain't nothing to me. And Ruby's like, interesting you say that. And she's holding a stance like with her like katana, and she's like this, and like the katana's in her hands.
Yeah, let me see. You want me to give you a katana, or do you not need it?
It's not a big deal. Just like imagine like there's a katana in my hands touching the ground, like that. So she's like holding it like on the ground, right? And she's like, yeah, so like pain, like your brain, you know, it's hurting, you know, that's tough. I'm sure it hurts a lot, doesn't it? And Devin's like, no, it ain't nothing, like ain't no thing but a thing. And then she's like, funny, what are you like 50? Devin's like, what? And then she like taps the katana on the ground, and Devin's like, whoa. And then she's like, 75. And she does it again, and Devin's nose starts bleeding, and he falls to the ground. She's like, yeah, 85. And then Devin's like, what the fuck are you saying right now? And he's like, every time she says something, he just gets more and more pain. And then he's like slurring his words. And then she like reduces, like she says like 50 again, and he's like standing up. He's like, oh, I can actually like think now, and I'm not like going dumb. And he's like, I don't know what you just did, but like I'm just gonna end this fight so I don't gotta deal with it no more. Like basically it's like, before you could do more shit, I'm gonna beat you so I don't have to do more shit. Right? So then Devin starts fighting her, and then like over time, like he's like punching her, she's going like flying across the arena, she's tumbling, but regardless of how strong the hit is, she just stands right up, gets back in the same stance. Nothing affects her. Yeah. But then it's like every little thing she does to Devin is like the end of the world. Like she barely cuts his arm, it looks like his arm cut off. And then if he stops, he's like, you know what? I realize what you're doing. Like you have pain manipulation. That's the only thing that makes sense. You're amplifying and reducing pain. You're reducing your own pain, amplifying my pain. So it's harder for me to fight. And Ruby's like, it took you that long to figure it out? Like, bro, come on. How much have I done and you just not figured it out? And then Devin was on this whole speech, and like I was a science major, so like I took anatomy, biology, all this stuff. So like I actually like, not anymore because it's been so long, but I knew like the exact names, like the regions of the brain that feel pain, the nociceptors and the nerves, all this stuff. So I go like, Devin's like, because Devin he's very impulsive and arrogant and annoying, but he is smart. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's stated somewhere like he acts dumb sometimes, but he has perfect grades in school.
Yeah, it's like stated later.
It's stated later. Like he has perfect grades in school. He's not a dumb person. Yeah. So it's like
he's just impulsive.
Devin's like going on this spiel mid-fight of like, I know that this is this, and this leads to this, and the nociceptors and the noxious talk, like all this stuff. He's like going in depth with all these different stuff. And he's like, but I ain't doing all that. Because what pain effectively is your brain's response to the outside world. And if it's just some dumb illusion that my brain makes up, I can just destroy that illusion, and it ain't gonna affect me no more.
Facts.
And like he was kind of spitting on that one, low key. So then he goes on fighting, and like Ruby's amplifying the pain, boom, 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 and it's not affecting him. He's just like, I ain't feel no pain. Like, I'm good. I'm Gucci. Like, I'm basically numb at this point. Like, nothing you do can hurt me, but everything I do can hurt you, even if you don't feel it. So then they're fighting, and they're doing, like, I wrote down, like, there's, like, pages of, like, all these, like, intense, like, hand-to-hand combats they're doing. Like, there's one point where, like, Ruby tries to stab Devin, and he, like, smacks the katana on the ground. So then, like, Ruby punches him in the gut, which lifts him in the air. Then she uses the katana as a springboard, jumps up in the air, front flips, and then heel kicks him back in the ground like a bayonetta combo, basically.
I think it's one of the. I think I like this fight more than I like the on the other side with Max and me. 'Cause I think this fight would be more entertaining here.
Yeah,
it's a closer
so
fight because of their strengths are a lot closer than
exactly.
mine.
So like they're giving the works back and forth, and eventually Devin like picks Ruby up by the throat, and he's like, see, the thing is like, no matter like what I do to you, you may not feel it. The damage is still done. If I break your rib, you're not gonna feel it, but it's still broken. And she was like, I don't understand how you can still move. I've cut you like 127 times. She goes and does like 127 times, and like 15 of them need stitches. 3 of them need 15 plus stitches. You have 6 broken ribs. I've broken 3 bones in your body. Like, I've torn your muscles. Like, you're bleeding out. Like, how are you still moving? All this stuff. And Devin's like, semantics, which dates it, because that's what Devin was. Remember when Devin always said semantics for everything, even though he didn't know what semantics meant?
It's because I used to say it a lot.
You used to say it, and Devin's like, I'm gonna say it so it sounds smart. Semantics.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't know what semantics means.
Yeah, but he uses it right here. Because,
yeah, he used it right here because like at the time that's what it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like it also fits the Devin character. Like, that's just semantics. It don't matter. Like, I'm chilling. So then he like grabs Ruby and like starts like choking her, and then she's like trying to fight back, but she can't like get the grip off, and then she like goes limp and is like unconscious. So he puts her down, and then he like goes kind of like on the stage because the fight's over now. He goes on the stage near the viewing area. And he looks at like Max, because Max is like standing up watching him, and he's like, Max, I'm better than you, and I'm gonna be the one that wins this tournament. Ain't nobody gonna beat me. And then he passes out because of all the damages on his body. So he like his eyes roll back and he falls down. Infirmary comes in. They like try to like they get him out of there, do what they can to try to get him back up and get going.
I think we said like the time, because usually between each match it was like 10-15 minutes, but for the finals I think is it either 30 or an hour?
Like an hour or something like that.
Yeah,
I think there was more time because Devin was in a critical condition.
Well, not even that. I think it's just because he said it's the finals, so we're gonna give
there was something at this point. Like the star was setting, it was getting darker, like the stadium lights coming on, all that stuff. Because the day's almost done. So then like because I didn't get to this part because when I was reading it, I only got to like the Ruby Devin fight. And then it was like time to come here and record this, so I was like, I don't got time. So I'm gonna go like off the cuff from what I remember from the Max Devin fight.
Okay.
It is the longest fight we have canonically. It's like 40 pages, or no, it's like 30 pages. It's a really long fight.
I mean, it makes sense. It's the final.
It's the final, so it's a really long fight. So hey, if you said it was gonna be Max versus Devin, props to you, man. Like
it was kind of obvious.
You called that shit. It was kind of obvious. They might have thought Gabe versus Devin.
Oh yeah, I guess because like I'm the MC.
Or even like Alex versus Devin, because it's like we established that he's the Emperor's son, so like he finna be like hella strong.
Yeah, I guess there are other conclusions to come to.
Yeah, or even like maybe Eduardo beat Devin, or like they're like I'm vibing with this Nick guy. Like Nick's gonna be him.
Maybe
I don't know what they're thinking.
Ruby, right? Like how does Devin overcome Ruby? I guess there's
insurmountable odds, but
even then, like we. He's just speed blitzing everyone. That's why I think in the fight, Devin says, "Oh, I thought your affinity was speed," but it's
he does
not.
say that,
yeah, because that's what she does. She's just faster than everyone, so that's why everyone assumes that's her affinity, because that's how she's beating everyone. She doesn't even need to. I think the only time she uses her affinity, which is only something you realize, well, like in retrospect, you don't realize it during the fight, is during her fight with George when she cuts him like 37 times. He doesn't realize it because she stops the pain from hitting him. So she asks him the question so he can answer it, and then when he answers it and it's wrong, then she lets the pain go.
Exactly. So and then she also like mitigated Gabe's pain. Because like also during the fight when she was fighting Devin, one of the things is like when Devin came to the conclusion, like, oh yeah, the realization of like you're still taking the damage, is that over time the damage, like the pain that Devin was feeling was going down, because he was still feeling the pain. He just wasn't letting himself react to it. He was just boasting of like, I don't feel pain, just like psych her out basically. But he still felt the pain. So it's like like he could feel the pain lessening. So his conclusion was like, my pain's getting better. Like I'm having less pain, which means you're experiencing more pain, which means you're having to use your ability to mitigate the pain more. And the more you do that, the more damage you have. So you're taking more damage than I am. So like this is GG's on this one. And then Gabe also, she mitigated Gabe's pain in the viewing room. And then during the fight, Gabe's pain came back. And it was like really bad because she was like, I can't keep mitigating this dude's pain. And then also I forgot to say, Max at the beginning of the fight before it happened, he made Gabe open a portal to the announcer's room, and he enhanced the entire Coliseum's eyes so they could see the fight, because the fight would have been too fast.
Yeah, because Ruby's too fast.
Because Ruby and Devin are too fast for the general audience to like comprehend. Basically, like they can see it, but it's like really like going back and forth. He's like, I'm gonna enhance y'all's eyes so y'all can see like what's going on. So
I think he only does it because I think Gertrude makes a point about it. Gertrude's like, I can't see anything right now. And
he does it before the fight happens. He said that he's like, just watching their previous fights, you're better off if I enhance your eyes.
Oh, I thought that's what he does in his fight with Devin, but in Ruby's fight, I think he waits.
He does that for the Ruby fight.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying he doesn't do it off rip though in the Ruby fight. He does?
He does it like when you get back.
Right.
When y'all get back.
But anyways, finals now.
But anyways, yeah, it's finals. So at this point, Max is on the center stage. Devin's in the infirmary, like critical condition, and Max is on center stage, and he's like basically telling jokes. He got the audience laughing or whatever. Like he got the audience like around his finger. And Gertrude's like, bro, quit stalling. Like I'm gonna get Devin like 10 seconds to get on the stage. Or I'm calling this shit. You won. Like GG's. I'm not trying to wait for this fight. And then Max is like, no, bro. Like trust the process. Like you gotta let him get up. Like let him cook, and then like he come and fight me. It's gonna be a good fight. But like you gotta wait for this fight. Like I'm fighting this guy tonight. I don't know why. I'm fighting this guy tonight. Yeah. And everyone's trying to rush him. He's like, no. He's trying to stall. And also it's like thump, boom, 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 boom. And then you see Devin break the walls, and he's like, I forgot how to get back, but like I'm here now. And then Max is like, I told y'all, bro. I said that he'd be back, right? And like behind him, you see like a hallway of like broken walls that rather than snaking back to like get on the stage, he just broke the walls because it's faster.
It's faster, yeah.
So he was just like, all right, I'm here now, ready to fight. So I don't remember like much from the fight, like early fight.
Actually, you know what we can do here is we can leave it on a cliffhanger. Ooh. Let the viewers decide who they think won this match up here, because I think what we did when we wrote this tournament, we made it not as predictable. I don't think
there's some underdogs.
There are definitely some picks, and it's like, would you really think just off of round one alone that Mike would lose to Max? Maybe not, right? Like I don't think everything is as obvious as it is. So I think this matchup can go either way. You can interpret anyone to win this matchup. So.
Yeah, valid.
I think, and this episode's already long as it is. So.
Exactly. So if y'all want round two, yeah. But anyways, like we were saying, the camera died, so we had to get a new battery. But like we were saying, let us know what you think about like who do you think will win the fight between like Devin and Max? Give your reasoning why. If we don't have a poll for this video, I guess you make that a poll. Let us know if you want round two. That can also be on there. Maybe say like, what was your favorite part of Deity Pressure? Because I know we went through it really fast, and you can already tell how long it is, even though I was like cutting out a lot of details. I was very rushed through all the fights. A lot of stuff happened. So let us know if you want like more of this content, and maybe Gabe and I on our own time can just like do stuff like in Discord or something.
Yeah, or like even if you catch Tyler on stream, which he be streaming every now and then, if you catch him on stream and you want to ask him some questions,
ask a question, I'll probably answer it.
Yeah,
like
unless it's spoilers, he won't answer it.
It's spoiler territory, but if it's like, you know, hey, can you talk more about this specific fight?
Yeah, it's like, hey Tyler, can you like read this fight on stream?
I want you to read it verbatim. Like I actually might, Loki.
You're like mid Overwatch game, like, all right, boys, I'm gonna just.
Yeah, I'll be like, and then Devin said.
So you're here. Maybe he might do it if that's what you want him to do.
Yeah.
And just catch Tyler on streams whenever he streams.
I mean, like I stream at Nubs. You know, it's in the if you go to the channels on the Jowp channel, like there's the channels tab, and I'm like one of them.
And Tyler's one there.
I'm one of them. Nubs.
He's also in the description down below.
In the description right here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Again, let us know everything like what you thought about this episode in general. It's a little different, different pace to what we usually do. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya.